particularly passionate about advancing structured HR system and promoting the adoption of international HR standards to improve organizational effectiveness. So, our professional experience span across HR operations, policy development, learning, and other parts of development. So she's also very strategic, or she's strategically in initiatives. Ora is committed to her work and she's very well ready. So thank you very much. Today we'll be having our trainer, Miss Aurel Luan. Please, can you appreciate her in the chat box? Hello, Miss Aurel, you can proceed from here. Let me stop sharing my screen.
Okay. Okay, good morning, everyone. Let me look for the chat box so I can see. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ore. Just give me a minute. Okay. Good morning. So I'm going to go through my attendance so that I can familiarize myself with a couple of us that are on the call. Please confirm that you can hear me. I want to be sure.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. All right, so looking at the list, okay, so I'm seeing Cynthia, Daniel, seeing Dr. Edward, I'm seeing Dossier. I hope did I pronounce that well? I'm seeing Pretty Beauty, Christian, Mustafa, Omar, who else? Rose. Okay, all right, okay. All right. I just wanted to have an idea. Olabode Adiola. All right. So good morning, everyone, once again. My name is Orolwani, and I worked in HR. Please give me a minute while I share my screen. Okay. So I work in HR. I have about 4 to 5 years experience in human resource, and today, what we are going to be looking at is understanding better what human resource is and how it relates to the business as a whole. Okay, please confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, all right, that's great. Okay, so we're going to be having this class together. And by that, what I mean is we're going to be having a couple of interactive session. I'm going to be asking a lot of questions because I prefer to know that the people I'm speaking with are following and that they understand. So if you have questions, please drop it in the chat, and I would respond to them as we go on. Okay? All right. So first things first, we are looking at human resource management. What does human resource mean? What does a resource mean, actually? And then what does human resource mean? When we talk about human resource or when we talk about resources, they are basically the key things that you need to do or that you need to have to get a job done. Okay, so it could be tangible and it could be intangible. So for example, let's imagine that, let's say for this class, most of us are on this class. What are the key resources you have to be able to take the entrepreneurship class with Transformation College, right? So you need your phone or your laptop. You need what? You need internet, right? You need a pen and a book so that you're able to pen things down. What else? You can give me another example of a resource that they think or they had to use for this particular class. I hope you're all with me. So you can give me an example of a resource that they had to use. There's one intangible one that I have not mentioned. Should I
Light.
call our names? Internet. Okay, thank you very much, Dose. Dose said internet. Yeah, he needed internet. People and share. That's an interesting one. I mean, not everyone is using a table and chair, but yeah, we'll go with that. Um, I don't think it's everyone that is using a table and chair. For all we know, some people are probably just taking this call, maybe just sitting or laying down on a sofa. All right, so who else? Eraser. I don't understand that one. So is it that if you write and you do not, you will not clean it? Someone said data, someone says skills. Hmm. Okay. All right. So I like our answers. Our answers are giving us, giving me the, sorry, trying to, our answers are telling me that we are giving a lot of thoughts into what we're saying. So yeah, I mean, we've said that. And I'm going to mention one now, and that is our time. We are also committing some time to taking this course, right? That's a resource. Time is a resource. Of course, the data that we use is a resource. So one other thing that we find in a business is what? Is that you have people. There is no business that is going to succeed without people. I mean, I don't think there's one business that you know that has done well and doesn't use people. It doesn't work. Even in an age where we have AI and robots that seem to be taking over, we still have people that program these things. People are the heartbeat of everything that goes on in the world, and of course, even in businesses. So we are looking at human resource to see how exactly do you manage people effectively for productivity. So we want to grow our businesses. We want to, whether we're working in a business or we ourselves have our own business, how exactly do we manage people well enough that they are now able to provide the right effort, the right contribution that they need to ensure that the business goes forward. That's basically what we're looking at. And also we're going to be looking at labor relations. Why? Because in Nigeria, as well as I heard someone said is from Gambia, every nation has what they call their labor laws. It means they have laws that are guiding uh when it comes to employment, when it comes to working with people, there are laws that guide that. The same way we have laws with respect to everything. There are also laws Sorry, there are also laws that guide how we manage the people that work with us, what is expected and what is not. Okay, so basically, very importantly, we're going to be looking at concepts with respect to HR. So it means that even if you're not an HR person on the call, by the end of today's class, you should have sufficient knowledge of human resource management. Okay, you should understand the concepts of human resource management. You should understand some keywords or key terminologies that are used. Okay, and of course, you should also be able to implement them. It's not just to know it, it's also to be able to implement it. Okay. All right. So what is HRM? What is human resource management? So we can call it the systematic process that we use for acquiring, developing, motivating, and evaluating employees so that the organization achieves its strategic goals. So simply put, we can say HR is the function that has to do with what managing people. Like I said, that's the simplest definition that you need. However, when we break it down, what about managing people? It starts from what hiring those people. Because of course, you can't own a business and then you are saying you want to manage just any person. Okay, I have a fashion business and I'm talking about HR. So I get an HR person. The person is like, oh, okay. Person is asking me question about my family, about my sister. I'm like, that's not your business. The people that concerns HR have to do with the people that are in the business. How do they get in the business in the first place? You hire them. I'm sure most of us, we've either looked, sorry, looked for a job before or maybe attended one interview or the other, or we ourselves. My slide looks very small. Oh my God. Okay. Is this a general thing? Is there a way I can zoom this thing out? Is it any better, Dozie? I'm trying to zoom it. It's not very convenient though. Is it better? Can anyone else see my slide well?
Yes, the slide
Okay,
is okay
someone
on
said
it.
the slide
Probably
size is
from
okay on the
phone
laptop.
view or something.
Okay, Dozie, are you using your phone? Maybe that's why it's a little bit small. Because I have it in presentation mode. Okay, it says laptop. I do have it in presentation mode though. Okay. I'll just have it zoomed out a bit. Let's see if that would work for you. Okay. All right. So as I was saying, so when it comes to human resource, it has to do with hiring those people. When you hire them, what's the next thing? You onboard them, right? Onboarding is to how do I simply put it? It's like it's actually an induction program. You know, when you get into school, there's an induction program for you. They put you through what you need to know about the school itself, what you need to know about the program you're signing up for. They you do like an entire school induction, then you go do a faculty induction. So there's also that with respect to when you bring in employees. What do they need to know about the organization? And of course, what they need to know about the department they're working with. And of course, beyond that, what do you now do? You provide training for that employee to help the employee settle in more in their role. After providing training, you also evaluate the employee. So HR has to do with the total life cycle of an employee. Life cycle means from the moment where the employee comes into the organization, we can equate that with, oh, the employee is now giving birth into the organization, to the moment where the employee leaves the organization. What HR does is manages that entire life cycle. Okay. So we have HR integrates workforce planning, talent management. We'll be looking at some of these key components as we go into this class. Okay. One of the things that HR also does is connect people practices to organizational strategy. Now, we have said, and I want to believe that all of us can agree that there's no business without the people. So what HR does is it connects what the people are doing to the company achieving its goals. You know, it's not even far-fetched when you look at it. You have people and we have the company growing. How exactly, oh, I'm sorry. So how exactly do we connect the people to the organization achieving its goals and objectives? There are no, if you, once you already agree that, okay, there's no way the company can even achieve its goals without having people, it already gives you a head start. Then you will now do what? Measure what the people are doing with respect to the goals that the company is achieving. If the company or if your business makes about, maybe say 200 million in 3 months, how did that happen? The people, how did it happen? Exactly, how did the people make it happen? So that is what HR does. It does what? It measures, it connects the people to the strategic goals and objectives of the organization. Also, it builds the capability of people. Of course, we've talked about learning. HR is in charge of the learning and development of a staff, of every staff member. There's the learning with respect to what you're doing in the job. There's the development with respect to you growing in your career. That sits with the HR. And of course, it has to do with risk and compliance. I already said that there are laws in every company that has to, sorry, in every country that has to do with the labor, that has to do with employment. You being employed in an organization, there's a law that governs it, as well as a law that governs how employers are to treat employees. So HR is in charge of ensuring that whatever goes on in that organization is compliant to what the company has Okay. All right. So very quickly, so I have to zoom in. Okay. So what are some key concepts in HR that we should know? Okay. So we have job analysis. We have job analysis. We have HR planning or workforce planning. We have recruitment. We have selection and we have training. Again, like I said, it's an entire cycle. You know, in biology, there was one thing that they taught us, the life cycle of some, I think a butterfly, or there are some insects that they taught us. I don't know. I mean, all of us attended different schools, but I am pretty sure I remember that they taught us that they would say from larva to pupa, from pupa to, who remembers that thing? Am I the only one that remembers, even if I'm not a science student, but it will show you the entire life cycle from when the insect is giving birth to when it fully evolves. Uh, does that ring a bell for anyone? Am I the only one that weirdly remembers? Because even if I'm not a science student and I didn't like science courses,
No, you're
I
not the only
do.
one.
Thank you very much, Damola. So I do remember. Okay, sorry. So there's an entire life cycle. And the way life is structured, life is also in cycles. It means there's where you start from, where you go to different processes that you have to go through, then the end. Again, the HR is totally in control, or sorry, not control, is in charge of managing the life cycle. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Of people in the organization. Okay, so for example, we have what recruitment. Recruitment is the first life cycle. Under it, we have job analysis, we have selection. After that, we have training. We have a couple of life cycles, and like I said, we'll be looking at them as we go on. Okay, and then the last one is, of course, separation. Separation is where the person is parting away from the organization. That's the last cycle of any employee in the organization. Separation could be that you terminated the person. That means you're firing the person. It could also be that the person is the one resigning. Okay, it could also happen as a result of natural factors. For example, death. Death is not, if an employee dies, it's not that the person resigned. It's not that you fired the person. It's just that there has been a separation with respect to natural factors. Okay, so let's look at workforce planning. I said we'll be looking at these concepts one after the other. So workforce planning anticipates human capital. Well, wherever you see human capital, it's also talking about human resource. It anticipates future human capital needs. So let me break this down again because I'm not very sure that everyone on this call, we are HR. So I'm just going to do it so that we can easily remember. That's why I'm going to be breaking it down uh, going forward. Okay, so we're looking at workforce planning. So let's see. When we entered the year 2026, a couple of us had, or let me not say had, I want to believe we still have it. We have plans that we plan to, or that things that we plan to do. So, for example, I plan to, let me give an example with myself. Let's say that I plan to finish 12 books or 13 books, or let's say 12, because there are 12 months in a year. I plan to finish 12 books this year, minimum of 12 books. Now, when I do that, there's always a plan. Okay, so how exactly do I do it? First off, I have to get 12 books. Now, it would be ridiculous if I say I want to read 12 books, and then someone asks me, oh, what are the 12 books? And I'm looking at them like, just books. And they're like, oh, okay. So what books do you have? And I'm like, I don't have any other. I don't have any book yet. If I say that, you're going to look at me and be like, I'm not sure this sister is serious. I'm not sure she's very okay. So when there is a plan, when there is a goal set, there is usually a plan. And so when it comes to human resource as well, workforce planning means we make plan for future needs. We look at it and be like, okay, our business is going to expand this year. We are going to be opening another branch in Kano State. Is there anyone from Kano here? We're going to be opening another branch in Kano State. how many people would we need in the branch? It might not even be that you're opening a branch. Let's say even within the context of the business environment that you currently have, you're looking at it and you're like, okay, we need to widen our digital reach, right? That's like, oh, okay, maybe we currently do Facebook right now and LinkedIn. We want to go to TikTok where we know that we have some younger people. What does that mean? It means that we might need to expand our digital marketing team. It means that if we don't even have one, we need to now recruit for. So it is just sitting down to understand the business goal and objective. Yes, Rose, your hand is raised up. Please go ahead to speak. Is it Rose? Can the participants unmute their mics to speak?
Yes, they can.
Okay, so Rose, do you have anything you wanted?
Rose, feel free to unmute your mic. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Please, ma'am, we are talking about expanding. Can someone expand a business when one haven't yet fully developed? Or is after the development of the first one that someone can think of how to expand another one?
I'm sorry, I can't even hear you. I was not able to pick out. Damla, could you pick out what she said?
No, I couldn't.
Can you,
I think, yeah.
hello?
Hello, you can proceed. I think it's better now. It was distorted
Oh,
earlier.
can someone establish or can someone expand another business, like the same size, like expanding it in another area, while the first one is funded or the first one that he created haven't fully developed it? That is my question.
Oh, okay. So I think let me confirm what I heard. You're asking if someone can expand their business in another area while this one that you're currently having is not fully developed. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So so it does depend on the organization's goal and objectives. I would not come out right to say, oh no, it can't happen. Maybe it can. So, for example, what's the reason for the expansion? It could be that you notice that your business would thrive well in a Yoruba state or an Igbo state or somewhere just somewhere different because of the kind of product and service that you offer. So it's possible that you go and open another branch if you also have the right resources, which would include both. We have about the method, the demand. We have a model for that. You have the means. That's what I'm trying to say. You have the money, you have everything to open another this thing. So it depends on the reason for your expansion. So it's not the question that you're asking currently is not just with respect to it's not just with respect to expanding as per, oh, we are growing. It could be that you're opening your business in another area that you believe that's where your target audience is. Maybe you've done what's that thing called? You've done a review of your business. You've seen that it's not doing well where you currently are because you are not established close to your target audience. The people that need to buy and buy from you are located elsewhere. So you could move to another location. You could even start in another location, maybe while not closing this one down. But when we talk about expansion, usually it has to do with growth. And I would bring it back to what I was saying. So I was just giving an example. Workforce planning is not just with respect to expanding in another location. It also has to do with, I also said it has to do with the business context, the business environment. We could be in Lagos and we are not living, in fact, we're not living in our building, but we're looking at the organization's goals and objectives, which we all believe that is going to have to do with growth. And we are saying, okay, due to what the organization needs to achieve this year, what are the needs that we need to put in place, or what are the plans we need to put in place with respect to human resource, right? You're looking at the needs, you're ensuring that you have the right skills at the right place at the right time. It also has to do with you looking at your current workforce. You can look at them and you look, okay, based on the workforce that I have, right? I can tell that um we're going to be needing these people in the next. So for example, look at AI, right? One of the things that people have done in recent times is that some people have done a lot of firing, And so people have done a lot of hiring based on the skills that are needed now. So now that AI has come up, so people have decided, okay, we're going to let go of a couple of people and we're going to bring in some other people that are, what's the word? That have the right skills that we need. So workforce planning also has to come in play when you look at it and you're like, okay, to achieve our particular goal and objective, what skills do we need? Do we have them? Do you want to train for them? It doesn't mean that you have to fire them every time. It's not this. Do you have to train the people to get these skills? Do you need to bring more people on board? It's just you planning the people that you have with respect to the organization's goals. So you're looking at the business, you're looking at your business and you're like, okay, this is what, again, please, when I speak, let's see it with respect to we having our businesses and we also working in other people's businesses or organizations. So you're looking at it and you're saying, okay, this is what the organization is going to need this year based on the plan or the strategy or the goal and objectives that we have set. And so this is the plan we need to put in place with respect to the people. We need XYZ skills. We need people that are very great with physical marketing. We need people that are very great with digital marketing, with content creation. Do we have those people? Oh, no, we don't. Do we train these people that we have? Yes, we can train them. Some other time you need to get an expert on board. Okay, we're going to be hiring. That's what workforce planning is. It's just basically having a forecast. You're looking into the future. You're saying, what are the things we're going to need for tomorrow? And you're putting them in place today. Okay, I hope that is they say I can see that you want to expand your own business. You say or international expansion to Ghana. Any expansion is fine. So, but I hope we are able to understand what I mean by workforce planning. It says here to align workforce size and skills to strategy. So this means that if you're going to, as HR, if you're going to do HR, thank you very much, Rose, for responding. So if you're going to do HR, if you're going to manage your people, you need to ensure that you have the right people at the right place at the right time. So for example, at the right place would mean that you're not wrongly disposing or be positioning people. You're not there's something that they say if you put a fish on land, you will not be able to see its full capability, right? You put it in water to be able to understand, for you to see that, okay, it's a fish. It has where it's supposed to be. So as HR, in HR, one of the things that you also do is ensure that people are rightly placed. You're not putting someone that is good at content creation. You're giving the person something else to do. You're not putting someone that is good with IT. You're telling the person to do customer service. You know that's bad for your business. That's bad for the people. So workforce planning has to do with planning your workforce well to ensure that all things are in the right order. It also is a way to mitigate future risk. It's a way to understand, or it's a way to what's that thing called? Avoid. It's also a component of business continuity. It's a way to avoid such whatever future factors that can come in place. So I mean, something can happen tomorrow in a business. There are different uncertainties that happen. How exactly do you plan for them with respect to the people? Again, when we're talking about HRM, we're talking about the people. Okay, so the purpose match supply of talent with organizational demand. At every point in time, an organization or a business has people demands. What do we need? I think it was Chowdek or so that the CEO fired almost all the staff members, right? Because maybe he figured out that he wants to make all his processes automated. So it tells you the kind of person that he needs. He needs majorly people that can help his business to be an automated because of the kind of business that he does. So based on the business, what kind of people do we need? Do we need more technical people? Do we need more sales people? Do we need more content and digital marketing people? Okay, short, medium, and long-term planning windows. You can have a planning for just the next 2 weeks, the next 3 days. You also have the one for the next 5 months. You have the one for the next 5 years. Outputs, what's the result? Staffing plans and development pipelines. We also have contingency scenarios. So usually what happens whenever you're able to plan your workforce is that you have great staff, how do I put it? You have the great staff strength. You also have great staff positioning. Okay, you have staff members, you are able to rightly develop the staff that you have. And there's little or no clash with respect to the people or the people supply and the organization's demand. Okay, so we're going to look at job analysis. Hello, Aruna. The AMP is Ambassador Aruna. Is that correct? Hello.
Yes. Good
Okay.
morning, everyone. Yes.
Good morning. Nice to have you on the call. Or nice to have you in
Thank you.
class. Okay, so job analysis. So basically, what does job analysis mean? It means that you have information about a particular job. Now, so for example, we're going to make use of, I should get the job roles of someone. So who works in an organization here currently and what do you work as? Let me have that in the comment section. You work in an organization currently. Who can someone volunteer themselves so that I will use them as a great example? Do you work in an organization currently or do you own your own business? Who else again? Rose. I work in an organization as a field sales manager. All right, thank you very much for that, Rose. I'm sorry, Prince. Say Prince, Princess. I think it's Princess. Okay, thank you very much for that. Rose, you're a business owner. Okay, great. It's great that you're learning this anyways. I work as an engineer. Oh, okay. Thank you very much for that, John. So we're going to make use of Princess for an example. Princess is a field sales manager. Okay, so what is the job? And if you are saying you want to get a job analysis done, it means you collect more information with respect to Humphrey. Hi, Humphrey. I know you. Okay, Dominic works as an accountant. Okay. All right, so it means you're going to get details with respect to the job. What are the responsibilities for that role, right? What skills are needed in that role? Okay, what qualification, what certification/qualification is needed in that role? So a job analysis is systematically collecting information about a job role, a job task. Okay, why do we need this? We need this when we want to do some sort of hiring. If you want to hire a new person, first thing you have to do is analyze the job that the person is coming to do. Okay, so out of this job analysis, we now have the job description that we use for the job advert. Okay, so that's what is called the job analysis. Okay, you have it underpins hiring, training, performance criteria, compensation. So having sufficient knowledge of a job would also help with respect to the training you need to give, with respect to the performance management, of course, with respect to the compensation, because you're looking at the roles and responsibility. You're saying, oh, okay, this is what this person is going to be doing. You don't just give people money and say, oh, okay, I feel like you're going to earn 500,000. That's not how it works. You look at the roles and the responsibility before you devise a compensation. Okay, so we use this with respect to interviews, questionnaires, and then, like I said, when you have a job analysis, we have job descriptions, job specifications. Okay, and what is the importance? It's to inform selection, appraisal, and workforce design. Okay, so it helps you know if you're hiring for someone now. Okay, so let's use Princess again. She works as a field sales manager. So we want to hire another field sales manager. Now we look at the job analysis. We look at what she does, and we look at the role itself. What responsibilities? What skills are needed? Now imagine that someone like Dominic now submits his CV for that particular role. What already tells you that Dominic is not going to be a great fit is that while you're seeing someone, you want a field sales manager, you're seeing someone that has ICANN or someone that is preparing for CFA, you already know that there's a mismatch. So job analysis gives you an insight into who you particularly need for a particular role at a particular time. Okay, so next we're looking at job specification and job description, the difference between these two. Okay, so job description is a summary. I mean, all of us have come across a job description before. If you have ever seen a job ad, they usually put the job roles and job description. It comes across, it talks about the duties, the responsibilities, who you're going to be reporting to, working condition, a typical job ad where you see hiring, hiring, hiring. We are hiring a digital marketer. You'll be doing this so things, social media management, website copywriting. You'll be reporting to the head of sales and marketing. You say hybrid role. You're working on site 3 times a week. And what's that thing they call it now? What success means in this role? I mean, we should have seen something like that. That's a job description. We use it for recruitment posting. We use it for performance standards and onboarding as well. Okay, so it's usually focused on the role and it describes what is needed in that role. Now, when we're looking at job specification, is the list of required qualification, education, experience, skills, competencies, or physical and legal requirements. So while the job description is talking about the role and the responsibilities, the things surrounding the job that you're going to be doing in that organization, job specification has to do with the required qualification, those things that it has to do with the skills and the experience that you've had. So they are actually going hand in hand when it comes to recruitment. So in hiring, you have a job analysis, you have a job description, you do a job analysis, and then from it you get a job description and you get the job specification. It's used for candidate screening, selection decisions, and also training needs analysis. This one is more focused on the person. So job description is more focused on the role that the person is going to fill. Job specification is more focused on the person that is coming to work in that role. I hope you understand. Okay. It says here that clear, well-aligned descriptions and specifications reduces mismatch. Now, how do you want to ensure that you hire the right person for your business? You do a job analysis. Once you do a job analysis, you have the job description and job specification. Now, when you're getting CVs, you're looking at it vis-a-vis the job description and job specification to say, oh, this person works for this role, or this person doesn't work for this role. That's how it works. Okay. So, thank you, Mustafa. You're a risk analysis specialist. So you would understand what it means to do great analysis, focusing on evaluating and managing financial and operational risk. Thank you very much. He says, but the English is so familiar. If one is, yes, so I understand. Yes, it's possible that you mix it up because there's job description, job specification. I think that's why we're also in this class so that we know. You can just put it in your head and say job description has to do with the role. It's talking more about the job. Job specification has to do with the person, what the person has that the person is bringing to the job. It's a little bit similar, like you've pointed out rules, but at the same time, that's why we are in class so that we know the difference. That's what makes an expert, right? So you're able to say, oh, okay, no, you're not talking about job description, you're talking about job specification. Okay, so moving on, we're looking at HR forecasting. What is a forecast? When we say forecast, what do we mean? How many of us used to look at the weather forecast? I do, but that's only during rainy season. How many of us look at the weather forecast? Maybe we check our phones for the weather forecast. So it's know if rain is going to fall or not. Or maybe we watch it in the news the night before. Am I the only one that checks? I don't even watch news, but at the same time, I used to check to know if I should carry my umbrella or not. So a forecast, nobody. I'm the only one. It would appear so. Okay. All right. So a forecast means you're giving an estimation of what is to come. Okay. So that's why we have weather forecast. We also have talent forecast. We have work forecast. When it comes to, we have HR forecast. So you're looking at it and you're like, okay, this is what we're going to need. This is what is likely to happen. And so because of what is likely to happen, this is what we're going to need. So there's something called a demand forecast. And okay, thank you very much, Dossier. I'm just saying that. There's something called a demand forecast. It's an internal supply forecast. So when a demand forecast, it means you're looking at the estimation of future workforce needs. It means we are going to need this particular role. We're going to need this particular skill. So for example, we're going to use Okay, thank you very much, Princess. Yeah, I also watch the weather forecast on my phone, or I check the app on my phone. All right, so you're going to need, looking at it, you look at your business. So for those that are business owners on the call, like Daniel, like Humphrey, so you look at it and you're like, okay, my business is going to need someone that is more inclined into AI because I want to get into, I want to adapt to the growing technological, is it needs that that I sorry, that is a world, and of course with respect to my business. So I'm going to need someone that is proficient in AI. I'm also going to need someone that can do a couple of when you sit with a business or when you're sitting down and you've planned your business, you know what exactly you need. So one of the things that HR includes is HR forecast. You're able to estimate the workforce needs that you're going to have. You're also looking at the role, the skill, the timing, because it also has to do with timing when you need this particular skill in your business. Okay, so your projection, your scenario analysis, and of course, your trend data. So that's what it means to have a demand forecast. Now, internal supply forecast is looking at the people that you currently have in the office, and you're like, okay, we have this kind of person. When you have some training and development done, this person can actually fit for this particular role. Okay, so we have assessment of the current workforce capacity and potential. You're looking at it and you're like, this person that is currently doing front desk, this person can as well do my accountants because the person works with Excel well. The person is able to put in, oh, we bought toilet rolls this day, this is how much we bought the toilet rolls, this the amount of toilet rolls that we bought, and we use the toilet roll from this time to this time. You can look at that person and be like, oh, okay, if you train this person can actually come up to start doing some basic accounting work. And maybe a little more training and development, coaching and mentoring, and the person actually becomes your accountant. So there is what is called a demand forecast, and there's an internal supply forecast. Okay, I hope we understand what I have said. No confusions whatsoever. Okay, so it means that sometimes when you need to do promotion or when promotion is done at the workplace, they do it based on the forecast. They've looked at their staff strength. They've said, oh, okay, this person can come into this role. We are going to need to train this person, and this person will be able to do this. That's an internal supply forecast. Okay, you're also looking at it with respect to retirement and attrition, and of course, internal mobility. One of the reasons why you do a forecast is so that there's no gap. So you don't have people leaving and then you're like, we don't have to do this role. Let's go and start recruiting. 3 to 4 weeks it will take you to recruit. It's going to cost your business. So you do what is called a forecast. Okay, it says combining demand and supply forecast yields gap or surpluses that drive recruitment, development, or redeployment strategy. So when you're able to do these two forecasts, you will be able to tell, oh, we need to do training and development for some people to come up to fill a particular gap before even time. Before time, sorry. Or you need to do recruitment. We need to just hire for this particular skill. Or you need to just do some sort of redeployment. Okay, so that's what a forecast is going to get you. It's the same way if you look at the weather forecast, you can tell the kind of clothes you're going to wear tomorrow. Oh, okay, it's sunny. I'm definitely not going to wear a hoodie tomorrow. But if you are seeing rain, you're like, okay, tomorrow you can even decide I'll wear something light, but take a jacket or take a sweater or take a umbrella. So that's what it is. When you do the forecast, it gives you're making a decision today for tomorrow with respect to the people in your organization. Okay. So moving on. Personnel surplus versus personnel shortage. What does this mean? I'm sure we already understand. We are very smart people on the call. It means that you can have you can have too many people, and then you can have too little people, or you can have people that are too many for a particular role, for a particular job. You can also have a shortage where there is a gap. You don't have enough people. So what causes personnel surplus? Demand decline, automation. So for example, we have 5 people that used to do one work. You buy a machine. All of a sudden, you need only one person. The machine gets the rest of the job done. It's as simple as that. You now have personnel surplus. So you also have organizational restructuring. Now, what do you do in respect to this? You redeploy. If there are places you can put those other people, fine. You can train them for new roles. This one you can see this one very well in manufacturing, but you can also see it everywhere now. This one that we're having AI. So I said there was an example that I gave with respect to that CEO that had to let go of some of his staff. Why? Because he now has AI to do some things for him. So AI can as well do the thing that you are doing. So don't worry, I don't need you again. That kind of thing, right? So what can you do? You don't have to always fire. You can redeploy. You can say, okay, you are no longer yours. This work that you're doing now is not needed anymore. So we are going to be moving you to another department. You can also train the person for a new role. So say, okay, now that you're not going to be doing this anymore, we're going to be training you with respect to this and this. What else can you do? Voluntary separation programs. That means you can give them the option to leave the organization. Okay, you can also have layoffs, this firing. Let me use the grammar that we all understand. You can actually fire, but you have to ensure that it is in tandem with legal, it's in compliance with legal grounds. You cannot just fire people like that. What does the labor law have to say? That's why we're also looking at labor law today. Now, personnel shortage. When you have little people for, I should use a real workplace scenario. All right. Okay, so I'm going to use what I mean, I think I've mentioned too, but I'm going to do it in a very storytelling mode. So we have a manufacturing. So let's say what we manufacture is chin chin. How many of us like chin chin? All right, so let's say what we manufacture is chin chin. And so you have, this is far-fetched, but I'm going to give the example anyway. I'm just trying to simplify things. You have someone that makes the chin chin, you have someone that packs it, you have someone that seals it, you have someone that puts the brand label on it. And all of a sudden, you just realize that, you know what, I can get a machine that's when somebody makes the chin chin. In fact, you can get a machine that actually does the chin chin nowadays. But you can get a machine where someone that actually makes the chin chin, and after the person makes it, the machine packs, brands, does everything ready for supply. Now, those remaining people that were packing and were branding, what happens to their roles? They are automatically, they don't have work again because you've already gotten some sort of tool to help you do the work. So usually this happens with respect to machineries. Sorry, happens with respect to maybe where you get machines or when you use an automated system. An automated system means that you don't need someone to do it manually. Automatically, it can get done. Okay, so I give an example with respect to the CEO of Chowdex that also said that now that he's using AI, he's using a lot of automated systems. So he did not need a lot of people to do some things. You know, there are sometimes that you can decide that, okay, you need a customer service to reply people. And then you just get a service where you use a chat bot. If the person needs something that is not there, the person is able to write down their queries, and then you're just able to automate systems. Now, when you do that, it's very possible that some people would likely lose their current jobs. So let's go back to our chin chin business, right? So the people that are branding it, the people that are, and it's not just one who is bulk, like a lot of chin chin. So it's a lot of work for that person at that moment, because the person will have to put the label on it, ensure that it is well, input the NAFDAC number and put it there. For, let's say you produce like 20,000 chin chin in a day. That's enough to give somebody work. But the moment you start using machine, what happens? The person no longer has a job because you just put everything, input the number 20,000, put the machine does it. Now all you need is one person that can do what? That can operate the machine. Now, what will happen to the remaining people? That's what we are talking about in personnel surplus. You either redeploy them to another department, maybe you start another one, you redeploy them, or you train them. Maybe you want to get more machines, because if you're doing 20,000 in a day, you can get a machine and it would mean that you do 40,000 chin chin in a day. So you might as well get two machines to do 80,000 chin chin, because it would also mean more supply would mean more sales, which means more money. So you can actually train the people to actually now, what's that thing called? know how to use machines. So you get more machines. Now you train them. What you're doing is that you're reinventing or you're restructuring their roles. So once you train them, or you can let them go. In some instances, you have no need for those people again. You let them go. Voluntary separation programs means you give them the option to resign. Okay, you give them the option to say, okay, I'm going to leave. Or you will have controlled layoffs with respect to legal listen. What that means is also that you can let people go, but ensure that it's in compliance with the labor law. Now, in the other one, personnel shortage. Now, imagine that this same chin business, we used to sell 5,000 in a day. All of a sudden, right? Maybe we did a partnership with some sort of supermarket or everything. Now we need to be selling 20,000 in a day. Right. So what that means is we need to get more work done. But it's only 5 people that used to do that 5,000. Those same 5 people might not be able to help you to achieve that 20,000. So what that means is you need to what? You need to get more people. So that's in the case of rapid growth. If you see here under personnel shortage, we have what is called rapid growth. So you can have the business growing to the point where you need more people. And the people that you have, they are no longer. You also have the point where it's not that the business is necessarily growing, it's still the same, but people left, so you don't have enough people anymore. So if you have a team of 5 and 3 people all of a sudden leaves, it means you have just 2 people that have to deliver the same work of 5. That's called a personnel shortage. Okay, we also have skill mismatch, where people that are in the current role, they are not supposed to be there. We've talked about a fish that cannot swim. Sorry. A fish that cannot climb the tree, a monkey that cannot swim. They are just mismatched. So we are going to have personnel shortage. Now, what the responses are would be to accelerate recruitment, get more people, right? You can also look at talent pipelines. Okay, you can look at there's something called talent pipelines where you have a couple of people that have come across your business, maybe candidates that you did not recruit, because of course when you want to do recruitment, you can't recruit everybody that applies. So you have a talent pool where you just put people that they are great, but you cannot employ them as of today. So you can go back to that document. You have temporary staffing. You can come up with contract staff just to fill up that gap. Okay, we have internal development too. Maybe those 5 people, 3 people left, remains 2. Maybe those 2 people can actually get the job done. They just need to be trained, maybe. Okay, we also have retention incentives. This one means, retention means you want people to stay. So what are the things you're going to put in place to ensure that they stay, so that they don't go, so that they are around? Okay. So do we understand now, Dosie? Did our chin business do justice to it before I move ahead? Hi, Dosie. Okay, I'm going to be waiting for your response. While I'm waiting, let's go on. Okay, so HR foundation and next steps. HR integrates hiring, development, performance, compensation, and separation. We already said all of that to meet strategic goals. Let's not forget all of the things that we are doing. Managing the human resource of the organization is to ensure that the organization meets its goals and objectives. Thank you very much, Princess Andotsi. I'm happy you understand. All right, so we also looked at what job analysis, descriptions, and specification, and we said that they are foundation for reliable HR practices, especially with respect to recruitment. We've looked at workforce planning and forecasting. How do you identify future gaps? How do you, and surpluses, and how do you guide interventions? Oh, I'm looking at it though, and as I'm looking at it, we would have to recruit some people in the near future. What do you do about it now? Oh, as I'm looking at it, though, we'll have a lot of people because we are getting a machine to automate systems. So what do we do about the excess people now? So that is what we have looked at. And so it says read ahead, prepare example of recruitment channels used in your organization. So I mean, let's discuss this a little bit just before we move. So next step, we are looking at recruitment strategy, sourcing channels, and all. So, but then, what recruitment channel do you know? Just for those that are business owners, they might not. So, what recruitment channel do you know? Business owners too, what recruitment channel do you know? Let's have it. What's one way you know you can do your recruitment? I am waiting for our responses. Oh yeah, oh, nobody has answered me. Should I break it down? What, okay. Recruitment agencies. Does it say, okay, Rose, I repeat, what recruitment channel, what hiring channel do you know? And to say when you say call for application, how do you want to call for it? Do you put your number there and tell them to call you? How?
Please, Mark, break it down.
You said? What did you say? Someone said recruitment agencies. Okay, that's great. But you know that if you're using recruitment agencies, you would have to pay. So you also, I'm saying that because as a business owner, you have to factor that in, right? What are your recruitment expense or what is your recruitment budget? Recruitment agency, fine. Rephrase the question. If you want to hire someone, how would you go about hiring the person? What channel would you use? Someone said Jobberman platform. Someone said LinkedIn. Okay. Okay. Does I'm still interested in how you want to call for application. Oh, will you put a banner and say, I'm calling you to come and work with me? How do you want to do it? LinkedIn is a great option. Jobberman platform is great too. I'm just going to wait for this to answer me, then we'll move on. Okay. All right. So we are gradually going into the legal environment, grievances, and HR trends. Okay. Looking at there are several ways depending on the job. Okay. Okay. WhatsApp channels. That's another Facebook ads. Okay. We are very professional in this place, so see us giving us very sharp answers. All right, so we're looking at labor relation practitioners. We're looking at things that have to do with labor union. Now, why should you know this as a business owner? You need to know it because you are going to be working with people. And like I said, yes, or LinkedIn platform, contacting friends. Okay, that's what is called referrals, Rose. All right, thank you very much. All right, so again, why should you have an idea of labor relations? Why is it important to you as a business owner? Because you're working with people. And I've said that there is a law that governs you working with people, either as an employer or as an employee of labor. Internal publication and social media. All right. Thank you very much. Our answers are very on point. Okay, so we need to understand things with respect to labor relations. There is a labor act. There's the labor law where you are able to, you're able to read through the entire labor law to know, I mean, it covers things as from recruitment to compensation to leave, maternity leave, shift night workers, workers that are on shift, workers that separation by death. It covers almost everything with respect to recruitment and employment. So you need to have an idea of this if you're an employer of labor. It also as an employee of labor. Oh, sorry, also as an employee, you need to also understand so you know what your rights are. Let's put it like that. Okay, so collective bargaining. Negotiated agreement sets wages, benefits, discipline procedures, and grievance mechanisms. Okay, understanding mandatory subjects. Okay, thank you very much, Mustafa. I saw that. Okay, so where you have collective bargaining, bargaining means what? you're trying to, some of us know how to price market. Okay, so you're trying to bargain, you're trying to negotiate, basically. Okay, so we have union representation, we have what they call labor unions. These are small, they are like small bodies or they are units that represent the employees' interest. You know, the way we have, I don't know if most of us have noticed, but at least for Nigeria, we have uh associations for almost every trade. Even artisans, we have maybe a union of hairdressers, we have union of mechanics, we have those things around. So we also have the labor union. Thank you very much, Lucia. You can use your website or blog. All right, thank you. All right, so we have the labor union, and this union is established to represent employees' interests, recognition, scope of bargaining units, and what they literally do is they defend or they represent the employee with respect to employment in their, so how to be part of a labor union is to join as a member of the union. Okay, so we have what is called the union, and we also have management rights and duty to bargain. Okay, employers, of course, retain operational decision authority, but must bargain over changes affecting terms and conditions. So when it comes to labor relations, there's something called bargaining. There's what the employer wants. I mean, you can decide I'm starting my business now, and I know since I'm the owner of the business, I'm going to be paying people after they work for 2 months. 2 months. Yes, 2 months. If they work 2 months, I'll just pay them the 2 months. Let me first know that they are serious so that they will not leave my business after 1 month. You can say that as an employer. But when you now bring it to the labor law, you understand that you have to be compliant. One of the things that you will do is what? You now look at the terms of the labor law. Also, you also look at what the employee needs. Because of course, it's one thing for you to say, this is what I want for my business. It's another thing for you to understand that people have what they want. And you need those people to make your business grow. There's no way you're going to do it without them. So there is a need for what? To bargain. There's a need to negotiate. The employers and the employees. That's why during interviews, you have people say, oh, what's your salary expectation? Oh, I want a 350K. Oh, I'm sorry, we can only do it 280. Can we meet at 300? That's one way. That's compensation. But there are also ways that you bargain. It's not just with respect to compensation. And again, labor union is the body that represents the organization, the employees. So it's almost like the employees have a backing. Now, it's not automatic. You have to join a labor union. But then employees can join labor unions, and you find out that when the employees, maybe they've not paid the employee in a long period of time, or the employee gets sacked unjustly, the labor union is going to take it up with the employer. So it's almost like they are the backing of the employees. So these are some of the things that we need to know with respect to labor relations. Okay. Okay, so looking at grievance process. Grievance has to do with when things are not working well. Let's put it like that in the organization for the employee. So for example, let me give an example. I'll give an example. I know one. So for example, the company has a policy with respect to, let's use sexual harassment. And somebody now filed a grievance against another employee, or maybe a manager, or even the employer. That, oh, okay, I was harassed by this person sexually. How do we go about it? Thank you. Dossier is explaining that the labor union in Ghana is very powerful, or is powerful, and most often takes government hostage on their demands. So, I mean, that's to tell you how powerful these things can be. They actually work in alignment with the Labor Act and the labor law that is established by the government. So, it's not like they do anything that is outside the government. So, that's what that's why, as an employer, it's important for you to know what the labor law says, so that you do not, I think I was saying it to someone and I'm like, go not let your employees sue you, because it doesn't look like that's doable, but it's very doable. We have the NUC, that's the courts, I'm sorry, NLC, that's the National Labor Court. we have the bodies that are in charge. And once an employee is registered under a labor union, if that employee is treated unfairly, they're going to take it up with the employer. All right, so back to grievance. Grievance means when something is not done right within the organization. So I was giving an example with respect to sexual harassment. It's an example. It could be anything. It could be a policy that is seen as unfair, anything. So let's say someone reports a sexual harassment case. That's a grievance that has been reported. The first thing to do is document it. As business owners, I hope we know that you need to document almost everything. You need to ensure that documentation is also done. So just in case I'm the business owner, I don't have time to be creating documents. Ensure that the people that you hired know that it's important that they create documents. If you can't do it, let the people that are doing the work, let them know. Okay, so the grievance is being filed. There's a supervisor review. There's the HR investigation. Please also note that this thing can vary from, it can vary for different organizations, but this is an example of a procedure. It's an example of a procedure with respect to HR investigation. Okay, so we have the formal hearing, you have the decision and appeal. What that means is that whenever there's a grievance that is expressed, there should be a step-by-step process to how it is going to be solved. He says use a clear, documented workflow receipt investigation meeting. Everything has to be documented. If someone says, oh, I was harassed, somebody harassed me, it's not just a thing of mouth. You have to put it down. Okay, when did it take place? What did the person do? Oh, okay, this and this, you put it there, and then you have the supervisor review. Everything has to be done according to, so has to be done with respect to documentation. So it says here that what's the best practice? I'm sure that Mola will speak to sending my slide to your emails, or I don't know how it's done. All right, so what's the best practice? Preserve evidence. Let it not be that, oh, okay, but that's not what you told us. But that's not what I told you. You someone that came to tell you that, Mr. Jimo, sorry, I hope there's nobody like that. I just picked the name. Mr. Jimo harassed me, and then you call Mr. Jimo, and the person say, I did not say he harassed me. I just said he talked to me, and I don't like the way he talked to me. Ensure that there's always an evidence. Again, grievance management, or what we would like to call it, it's called employee engagement. And so under employee engagement, we have grievance. We have managing grievances in the organization. We also have conflict and resolution. It's also part of human resource management, because we already said that human resource is a key resource. Humans are key resources in a business. You need to understand that humans are not machines. There's no way you're going to have to deal with conflict resolution when it is machine. Machine A will not tell you, machine B did this to me, but humans are humans, right? So we also have to factor that based on our resources being humans, our assets being humans, these things can come up. Why? Because we are emotional beings, we're social beings, and so we have to make provision for them, and that sits with the HR department. Okay? Godwin is sharing that this process is perfect for him because he had an opportunity to be in a panel of investigation, and this process was what they followed, you see? So this is an example of a process that we can use. Okay? Ensure that there is documentation. Ladies and gentlemen, do not forget that. Always document everything that is said. Okay? In fact, you can let people know that, oh, as you're saying this thing, I'm documenting it too, so that they will come correct. All right, that's just by the way. Okay, so we're looking at arbitration. I think okay, sorry about that. Okay. Again, these things we can find them in the labor law under labor practices. Okay, explained. We have binding private adjudication used to resolve contract disputes. Now, this has to do with dispute settling. We just talked about grievances in the organization, within the organization. We also have when you are looking to settle disputes, but you're taking it out of the organization. So we have the process. Instead of okay, let me look at the questions that I have. Instead of documentation during complaint, why not use recording process? It's also part of it. It is also part of it. Actually, you can use the recording as your evidence. The essence of documentation is so that the essence of documentation is so that you have what is called what you call evidence. So you can as well use the recording to say, okay, what you're saying now is going to be recorded. Now you don't have to maybe play. You can now get the recording, right? And then when you now get the recording, what you now do is you put it down into writing. The essence of documentation also is that it's not a tangible document. You need something that you'll be able to put and say, okay, you are keeping it, and this is like a record. So you can now have the recording as your reference. Do you understand? So, but then that's a way to please the slides. Damola would speak to us getting the slides and how that's going to happen. Okay, so we're looking at arbitration. Okay, and it also has to do with what's conflict resolution. Okay, so you actually have to select the arbitrators. I want to get in a simple way, arbitration is resolving workforce dispute. I already mentioned outside of court. You're not taking it to court. You're using like a third party to settle the dispute. So we have two people that are in conflict and you're settling their dispute through an arbitrator. So the arbitrator is usually a neutral person. Okay, dossier says it's better than litigation. Somewhat agree. Yes, I do. So pre-hearing briefs, evidential hearing, award issuance, awards are final unlimited grounds. Awards are final unlimited grounds exist for judicial vacatur. So usually what happens is that two people that are in conflict, you want to resolve their conflict, whether as HR or as a business owner. What do? You can get an arbitrator, right? So when you get an arbitrator, the person does what is called a fair hearing, listens to this person, and then acts like a judge to ensure that okay, I've listened to these two sides, so and this is what I am going to, this is my decision. So that decision is what is called an award. The decision that the arbitrator makes is called an award, and that award is what, based on whatever decision he makes, that's what the parties are also going to carry out. Okay, so what is the role of HR? Prepare records, coordinate witnesses, secure legal counsel, ensure compliance with award terms and timelines. So you could use an arbitration mode to settle disputes in the workplace. Okay, we also have union and employers. What is arbitration actually? I thought I explained it. Let me take that again. It's a means of settling disputes. So, for example, me and Dose, we are fighting. We are in a conflict. Whatever the conflict is, it could be with respect to discrimination. Let's say Dose is even my manager, and I feel that he's discriminating against me, or whatever contract it is that I was given, that I signed in the organization, is not being followed. So we are in conflict. Okay. Now, arbitration means you want to resolve that conflict, but we are going to be using a third party, someone that is not my friend, someone that is not Dosie's friend, someone that is a neutral person. Okay, so arbitration is using, and you're not taking it to court. You're just using a neutral third party to settle our dispute. So what that third party is going to do is hear me out, hear Dotie out, and after doing that, it's going to come to a conclusion. That conclusion is called an award. Now, the conclusion can be that, okay, I've heard them out, and Dosie needs to do this. He needs to pay her this and this. He needs to apologize and write a written apology, or Ore needs to, whatever the arbitrator, the third party says, is called an award. That's the decision. Then the both of us will go by what the person has said. Do you understand, rules? Okay, thank you. I'm trying to like really explain it in simple terms so that we can understand. All right, so we also have other labor terminologies that we should know with respect to labor union. We have strikes. employees can go on strike. I hope you know. It's a collective employee withdrawal of labor to pressure bargaining. So maybe, for example, when we talk about bargaining now in this sense, it's not just this is what my salary should be. No, maybe they are saying, oh, okay, we need 1 day remote work based on the kind of work that we do. We can work from home. But even if you don't want us to work from home, at least give us 1 day. We can be rotating it. Do you understand? And then, or maybe they are asking for salaries to be reviewed, or maybe they are asking for a better work environment. It could be anything, right? And so they are trying to talk to the management, and the management is not answering. They can decide that they are going on strike. That's why it's here. It says collective employee withdrawal. It means they are not going to work. Okay, so legal types, we have different types of strike. We have economic ULP strikes. They are actually more, they are more than this. So you need to understand that employees can decide to strike. Okay, so as an employer of labor, what do you do? At the very beginning, start looking for how you will not let that happen. Okay, so I said there is the economic strike. That's one where they want maybe better payment. We also have sympathy strike. Okay, maybe they are taking the strike because of one person or two people or a particular department that is being treated unfairly, but everybody agrees, okay, we will not work. Okay, so we also have, I think there's one called sit down, or where they come to the office but they will not work. Okay, or let's say the IT department says, oh, we are going on strike. The idea, oh, but they just cross their leg, they are drinking tea in the morning, in the afternoon. And so it might look like, oh, let them be doing what they are doing. But the moment HR needs something with respect to IT, they won't answer. So it's still going to affect the company's operation. So we have different kinds of strike. We have the wildcat. I think there's the wildcat strike, where it's that one is people just decide to start protesting and then things go a little bit out of hand. So we know that employees can strike. There's also the lockout. This one is the employer that is going to say, oh, wearing red bands. That exactly. So the employer says, okay, do not work. You close your workplace. So employees are the ones that strike. Employers can also actually go on lockouts where they say, you know what, we are not going to do this. You know what? In fact, people stop coming to work, and people stop coming to work means people are not going to get paid. So there's also that movement with respect to, and then we also have boycotts, targeted third-party pressure to harm business reputation. You can see here on my screen that people are carrying placards and standing in front of the organization. Okay, so it says the antitrust and labor law intersection requires careful legal review. Now, the reason why we are going through all of this is so that we understand that even when we are starting a business, we also have to look at the legal aspect of it. Also have to look at the legal aspect with respect to human resource. You're not just employing someone to treat the person anyhow. No. You're not just employing someone to, and then you say, welcome to my organization. It's my name that is on the dossier and sons. So whatever goes. No. What you are doing has to be in compliance with, it has to be compliance to labor laws. That's why you need to understand some of these scenarios that can come up. Okay? Legal environment overview. Compliance requires aligning policies with statutes. So it means as an organization, when you are creating your own company policy, one of the things that you can do and you should do is that what you align it to the labor. So you must be very well knowledgeable about what your labor laws are. If you're in Gambia, if you're in Ghana, what exactly are your labor laws? As an employer of labor, you should need to know it and know it well. Okay, we have recent trend, extended protected classes, increased focus work and health. Okay, so moving on, we're looking at federal laws. Example of federal laws. Now, this one is wild. It's not just Nigeria. We're just looking at some examples. Americans with Disabilities Act. Now, this is to broaden our knowledge to know that there are things like this that exist, even with respect to Nigeria. Okay, there's a law with respect to data, how you manage data. There's a law with respect to, of course, pension, with respect to ensuring your employees. So you don't just start a business and not look at these aspects of the business as an employer. You must ensure everything is in hand. Everything goes hand in hand. So we have an act that says Americans with disabilities. So reasonable accommodation is provided for qualified employees with disabilities. We have family and medical leave acts. That's where employees that are provide eligible employees unpaid job protected leave. So you currently don't have a job, but you are being paid. Okay.
Sorry, hello.
Yeah.
I just want to remind you, we'll be going on break soon, and the break is going to be for 30 minutes. So
Okay.
I believe probably after this particular slide, we can round up and go for the break so everyone can get some water and refresh themselves so we can complete the class by 12 o'clock.
All right. That's great. You can
All
continue or
right.
conclude the class.
No, no, the class will continue around 12 o'clock till
Oh, okay.
2.
Okay. That's fine. All right. That's
All right.
fine. Okay. So we
All right.
also have the federal anti-discrimination laws. That's an example. Okay. The say is asking before we go. It says, how do young enterprises handle these complex issues? Okay. So these issues are not just for big enterprises, by the way. So the first thing is, like I have said, if you have a young or you have a small business, you still need to be knowledgeable. That's why it's a very great plus for people that are business owners that are on this call, because it gives you an insight into what you need to know. It now helps you know what policies to put in place that serves as a foundation and a risk mitigator. Like you're already putting the policies in place to uh to protect your business, not just your business, also the people from whatever future scenarios that can come up. So one of the things you need to do is have great knowledge of the labor laws that are in your country. Then you now start building up policies and putting structures in place within your business, even as a young business. Nothing that says your business is young means that it should not have some particular documentation with respect to these things. Now, you might not necessarily have the Americans with Disability Act. I mean, that one goes with America, but you might not have to. So we have something that has to do with disability too in Nigeria. Now, necessarily, you might not necessarily, what's that word I want to use? You might not even hire people with disabilities. Maybe at your staff strength is currently maybe 15 to 20, and you don't yet have the space for people to work with disabilities. That's fine. But nothing stops you for creating a policy that says that in the case of you implementing disability, this is what you put in place. When your business grows to that level, you now start to implement it. Okay, so these complex issues can really be handled by having the right policies in place as an organization, and of course, communicating them to your staff members from time to time. It's just so that, so for example, if we looked at conflicts, if you want to do conflict resolution, what policy can you put in place? Rick was sharing the fact that that process has worked in his organization before. So you can just have that documented that, okay, in the case of a conflict, these are the processes we're going to be looking at. What you can also segment it. Small conflict, you will just do this one. A more serious conflict, but then you have procedures that are put in place. So it means as business owners, our documentation has to be great and has to be in alignment with what our labor law says. Okay, so I think we can go on the break now, Damola. Damola.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll be going on break for the next 30 minutes. And please, I'll be resending the attendance link. If you've not filled the form, please kindly do so that we can get to, all the details needed to get back to you. And please, it's just for 30 minutes, just for us to stretch out and so it won't be so stressful on us and we want the class to move smoothly. So I'll see you all. Please stay on the call. You can, get something to eat, have just, stretch a bit But please kindly stay on the call. We'll be back by 12 o'clock to continue the class. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are we all here? Okay. Yeah. So let's do a bit of a quiz now, shall we? Okay, so who can tell me the major difference between job description and job specification in just one sentence? I have three questions. Job description and job specification.
Okay, so can I speak?
Oh, please go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, and to my other colleagues. So, job description basically is about what the job entails, and the
Mm-hmm.
specification has to do with the requisite skills set that one needs to have to be able to pick up the job. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Just see. Okay.
Doche,
All right. So my
Doche.
second question would be, okay. So my second question is, give me one or two causes of personnel shortage. You can give me that. Two causes of personnel shortage. We can just type it in the chat room. I want someone except dossier because dossier already gave me an answer. And we are more than, I mean, we are quite a number here. So two, why is everywhere quiet? Two causes of personnel shortage. What can cause a personnel shortage? Increase in number of, okay, so I see that you're using my example. So this would be, it's not, so I'm going to correct this slightly, but this is very correct. However, the reason why you can't say number of production is what if it's not a production company? A professional service company can also have personnel shortage. So you can say growth of business, right? So
Okay,
growth generally,
due to
rapid
growth
growth, by the
in the
way.
company, in the organization, rapid growth in the chain of supply and production. So due to growth can cause a personnel shortage.
Yeah, I get that. That's very correct. Sorry, who just spoke now?
This is Princess.
Oh, hello, Princess. Thank you very much. Okay, so we have rapid growth. We also have attrition. So a case where people leave, if you have a case where people left the organization, the say it didn't work for some retirement. Well, that's under attrition. Anything that makes anybody leave the organization is attrition. It's called attrition. Extension and increase in number of branches. This one that we are giving us, this is not the exact thing that we learned in class, but we are applying practical knowledge, so I like it. Okay, and I think my last question would be, let's
Lack of
see.
skill.
I'm sorry, what do you say?
Lack of required skill.
Lack of required skills.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. That's true. If you do not have enough skills for the role that you need, that's actually personal. Okay, yeah, that's correct. Now, my last question is, what is demand forecast? What is demand forecast? We looked at demand forecast and we looked at what's the other one? I hope you can hear me. Keep telling me my internet is not stable. Can you hear me, please?
So you
Please, am I
mean demand focus or forecast?
Mm-hmm.
Demand
Demand
focus.
forecast. Yes. When we looked at forecast, workforce planning, forecast, demand forecast. What is demand forecast? We also have in-house supply forecast. So, but then what is demand forecast? Anybody? Estimating organization's future workforce needs. Thank you very much. A round of applause. Don't worry, me, I'll clap by myself for you. Yes, so when you estimate the organization's needs, future needs, you're able to know. Thank you very much. Yeah, so you do deserve a round of applause. So thank you very much, those here. So that is what is called a demand forecast. Okay, so let's continue very quickly and I'll probably move on a lot quickly. So we're talking about some particular things with respect to labor relations and the workplace. And we've seen that there are provisions made by the government, whether as or maybe the country that you belong to. Please give me a minute. Okay. So what's it called? Their contributions there are solutions made by the government. Sorry, I'm trying to do something. I need to have my charts visible so that we can all. Okay, all right. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, right. So we have the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. That's another one. It says it enforces federal anti-discrimination laws and those charges of discrimination. We also have the OSHA, that's Occupational Health and Safety. We have the NLRB. Now, these are all provisions made by the by the government to ensure that what they are fair and just labor practices at the workplace. That's why we have all of these things. So as a business owner, what are you supposed to do? To understand how this works, understand which one concerns your business, and ensure that you put in the right practices for your people. Now, it says contemporary HR trends. What are some of the HR trends we are seeing today that maybe did not exist a couple of years ago? Diversity as a competitive advantage. Now we have something called DEI. It's called diversity, equity, and inclusion. It says here that organizations that integrate diversity into strategy see better innovation and market reach. So I'm sure most of us might have heard, or even if we haven't, that we have organizations now that apply, they have maybe a disability program. I think I was at an event 2 weeks ago when MasterCard was offering, and they were looking for organizations to partner with so that they will be able to bring some of these people into the organizations, just give them jobs. Of course, train the organizations on how to work with them and all of that. So there are things that we should be aware of. Say HR should tie DEI goals to measurable business outcomes, because the truth is, it's wrong to think that just because people are disabled, they have no value to give. So that's why it says here that people that actually integrate it, they see better innovation and they get a wider market reach. So it also means that if someone that is disabled or that has a disability, for example, is selling your products for you, of course you're going to get more people to look at what you're selling because it appeals to the human this thing. Then the person is also able to sell to other people that have disability. That's just an example. So we also have outsourcing HR functions. That's something that is happening now, where maybe Humphrey or who else said it? Daniel, that those business owners now missed. They don't have the time to do all of these things that I'm saying, so they can actually take it out to maybe HR consulting firms to get it done for them. Of course, we also have technology and analytics, adoption of HRIS, people analytics, AI powered. So, I mean, AI cuts across everything, so including the HR, including HR. So we have organization culture, hiring for fifth and final discussion. All right, so we have when you hire for skills and adaptability while ensuring non-discrimination selection process. Okay, so this has to do with when you're hiring, you have to ensure that you're doing it without any form of discrimination. You know, I mean, I happen to be on LinkedIn a couple of times, and you hear people say, oh, HR is asking you interview questions when they already picked their brother. Now, we need to ensure that our hiring is free, is fair, and that's why I was asking that what recruitment channels would you use? You need to ensure that you have fair hiring policies, not one where you're favoring somebody and not just someone that you know. There are biases. You have to ensure that there are structures in place to ensure that your interviews, your recruitment stages or processes are free and they are fair. They are not they are void of biases. Let's put it that way. Okay, so it says audit policies against the federal laws, train supervisors on objective discipline and accommodation, document decisions. Okay. So moving very quickly, let's look at performance evaluation. What does performance evaluation mean? It means to what? It's like exam. Let's put it like that. I always try to make these things, put it into lay terms so that we can understand. So we know that before you go to SS3 before you go to class 3 and you're class 2, you have to do what? You have to take exams. The exams are what tells us that you are fit for class 3 because you have been able to understand what you have been taught in class 2. Great. In the same way, if you bring it to the organization context, there's something called an appraisal, an evaluation that is done to say, okay, this person does the work he or she is being hired for, and the person is now maybe recommended for a promotion for higher responsibilities. So this is very key, and it also sits with the HR department. Like you see here, it's used for development, promotion, and pay decisions. Okay, key elements, clear goals, regular feedback titles. So how exactly do you carry out your performance evaluation? What's in a non-negotiable? Yes, you have different feedback cycles, you have objective metrics. Now you can't look at someone and say, you came almost every time throughout last year. Let's promote you. No, that's not right. Or you look at someone and I'm like, the perfume, you smell good. Let's grant you promotion. Doesn't work that way. You have to have objective metrics. Of course, you have to measure what the person does. It's not possible that you now go and meet someone that does content creation and say, how much did you bring into the organization? Except, of course, it is tied to it. But content creation is to build awareness and build the brands, and build the brand, and build the brand of the organization. You now come and look at a person and say, we said we're going to make 50 million. Where was your own quota? You failed. You go and meet the person that does IT. You are just pressing computer at the back. You didn't even bring out any money from this company. You failed. No, you ensure that you actually evaluate people based on what they have been hired to do in the organization. Okay, what's the purpose? To align individual performance with organization goals. So there are different appraisal frameworks. You have the KPIs, you have the OKRs, right? You'll be able to make use of any of this framework to align. So for example, in the OKR, you have your objective. What's the company's objective? The company's objective is XYZ. What is the department's, what is marketing's objective in this company's objective? So let me make it easy for us to understand. Let's go back to our Chin Chin company, right? Let's say 2026, what we want to do is that We want to rebrand. We want to expand. And of course, we want to build a community of our chin lovers. Okay, so those are the things that we want to do. We want to also get a revenue of maybe 200 million, right? Now, how do we now break it down? That's the company, that's where the company is going towards in 2026. What do? Sales will take the money part, revenue of 200 million. You take it down to sales department to say, okay, in between January to June, we should have done 100 million. You take it to digital marketing to say, okay, we want to rebrand. So you have to ensure, should we change our logo? Should we change our outlook? What social media platforms are we not on that we need to be on? Then you take it to what else that you want to do? Build a community. That also falls under digital marketing. IT. Those is asking what is chin chin. Oh, it's a snack. That one, I'm sure you will know it. They have it in Ghana now, don't they? It's a snack. Oh, sorry. Oh, I thought everybody knew chin chin. That's how I've using biscuits. Let's use biscuit. And you know biscuit I've been. Sorry, I have been assuming that we know what chin chin is. It's actually a snack. Very similar to biscuits. So we can make use of biscuits. Okay, so back to let's use biscuits now. So what do? IT company, what do they need to do? They need to build a website where if you're building a community, then that means IT has to ensure that we have a website that people can come to and be able to maybe lay complaints, submit suggestions. What I'm trying to say is that when you look at the overall objective of the organization, what do you now do? You break it into different departments, break it into different, take it to different people to let them know that, oh, this is your own key results in what the organization is to achieve. So when you are doing your own content creation and you are getting more likes for the organization, what are you doing? You are contributing to the overall company strategy or big company's goal and objective. So that's the essence of evaluation of performance, is to look at what everyone is doing in the organization and say, okay, how does this connect to the organization's overall goal, and to assess what they are doing. What are the outputs? Development plans, you have performance ratings. From there, you have promotions, you have recommendations, you can increase the people's pay. What is the best practice? Continuous feedback, make it quarterly. Multi-rater input. Multi-rater input means that you let the person rate themselves. You also let their managers rate them. You must always give people the ability to say, this is what I did, right? And documented calibration meetings. Okay, so those are some of the things that you can use. What is compensation? Have you ever been asked, what is your salary expectation? Right, so what is compensation? It's the total reward employees receive. Sorry. Is the total rewards that employees receive for their work. Now, compensation is different from salary. Salary is inside compensation. Compensation has to do with everything. So if they provide free health care for you, it's part of your compensation. If you have any allowance, it's part of your compensation. If you have maybe you have wardrobe allowance, transport allowance, everything is called compensation. Okay, so we have base pay, incentives, workplace experiences. Okay, so what does compensation do? Supports business objectives and talent strategy. Okay, it meets legal reporting requirements, and overtime is also part of it. Thank you very much, Rose. Overtime is actually part of it too. When you see that, oh, we have overtime payment for, sorry, my video will go off a bit. But when you see that, oh, we have overtime payment for those people that do overtime, it is also part of it where you calculate the overtime of the staff members to let them know that, okay, for every extra work you're doing, oh, we are paying you and we are recognizing your work. So that's also part of it. And benchmarked. Of course, one of the things that it does also is it makes your organization a place that people want to work. When people get great compensation, fair compensation, they want to work there. Benchmarked against market pay and industry norms. So how do you decide your compensation? Let's work with that. Because we are business owners, right? How do we decide our compensation? There's something called the market, let's say the market pay. There's something called market pay. So for example, if you're starting a biscuit company, but for example, if you're starting a biscuit company and we want to decide what to pay our staff members, we already know that there's already an industry called FMCG, and it falls under FMCG. That's fast moving goods, consumable goods rather. So you look at it, benchmark it, look at the industry to say what do they pay in this industry. There's always a need to look at, benchmark whatever we do in our organizations to what the industry or what the market says. You have to benchmark it so that you're not paying lower. Of course, you can pay higher, right? It's possible, and that's if you can afford it, but most especially so that you're not paying lower. So if you go there, so for example, if you use Glassdoor or you use other sites to just check, oh, what is the, you can even ask ChatGPT here, what is the industry payment? Yes, HMO is under compensation. It's not a reward, it's compensation. Okay, so it's not a reward, it's a compensation. We also have award and recognition too. All right, so you look at it and say, okay, what do they pay? So if you see that, oh, in FMCG industries, they pay marketers about a 450, 500 bandwidth. You're able to now set your own to say, and I'm saying this because of young companies, small companies, you're able to now say, okay, that means if we want to get, we have to be willing to pay at least 400. Now, if you now look at your business and say, but we don't have 400, we are just starting, then you go to what? You now know that, yes, what we need to hire is an intern. That's what we can afford. How do you answer the question, how much you want to pay paid? All right, so what I am saying is also part of the answer. Even as an employee, you must know what the market rate for your role is, and also within your industry. So for example, I'll use an example. I work as HR. The amount that HRs get paid in oil and gas is not the same amount that they get paid in manufacturing. This is definitely not the same amount that they get paid in consulting. It's not the same. So I need to know what HRs get paid in consulting if I am in consulting. If I'm applying to oil and gas, I then go to say, how much do they get paid in oil and gas? So I remember a couple of years ago, I was applying for an HR intern role. But the company I was applying for was paying an HR intern role about 1,000 USD. Now, that is that company. That's the company, that's the industry. It will be wrong for me to now say, oh, I'm now applying to a manufacturing and I go there to say, oh, I want a 1,000 USD as an HR intern. They'll look at me and be like, are you okay? So you must know, to answer the question, how much do you want to be paid? You need to know what the salary range for that industry is. Maybe not the company. If you're able to get for the company, great. But if you're not able to get, I know that I'm applying to an FMCG company or a finance company or investments and banking. How much do they usually pay my role in this industry? Do your findings before that. And once they ask you the question, ensure that you mention within the range that you saw. So if online you saw maybe a 500 to 700K, you can say, oh, I'd like to be paid a 650 to 700. Do you understand how it works now, Dossier? Okay, so let's go back. Direct wages, salaries, and incentives. All right, so direct pay has to do with the money that enters your account. Use your salary. Okay, thank you very much, Dossier. All right, so this is visible. You can see it. We also have indirect pay. Okay, you can see, I think usually at the end of the year, you see a couple of things, and then you see fully sponsored trip to Zanzibar. All of those things are called incentives. They are just things that would make your staff happy and motivated. We have wages. Wages are what you pay hourly for the time worked. We have salaries that are fixed per month, and then we have bonuses and profit sharing. Okay, so profit sharing bonuses has to do with this one is extra. You've looked at your company, you see that okay, we made a target of 20 million, we actually made 21 million, 22 million. You can share the profits with your staff members. Don't carry everything to your house. Okay, so indirect pay, that's benefits. Is it required or is it optional? What is required, what is optional? Okay, so we have some required ones. We have social security, we have health insurance, we have leave entitlement, family medical protection. So for example, HMOs, they provide companies provide free medical benefits to not just the employees but their families. We also have some optional ones. That's retirement. That one is very optional. We also have supplemental health wellness programs, tuition assistance. It's not compulsory. Okay, so factors affecting pay structure. Pay structure reflects the internal priorities and external realities. So what factors do we look at? The job value and market rate. We've talked about it. The job value and the market rate, you have to always benchmark it. Sometimes if you figure out that, oh, it's very hard for you to increase salaries and all of that, you can go to the job market and see that you're currently even paying more, right? Or you could see that you're paying less. Maybe that's why people are leaving. Because just think about it. Why would someone leave your company to another company to do the same work? It's because the person is getting paid more. So you need to look at what the market rate is. Organizational strategy, growth stage. It depends on where you are as an organization. It says here that talent priorities. Yeah? Someone speaking.
Yes, I think Aruna is trying to say something, but I think his network is
Okay, I
breaking.
can't hear him well. Hello?
You can proceed.
Okay. All right. So we also have performance and equity. Okay. So another thing that can affect the pay structure is the person's performance. Now imagine two accountants are hired into the organization at the same time. They came in the same year. But after evaluation has been done, you see that one of the accountants is really making strides, has brought a lot of initiatives, has made a remarkable change, while the other one is just doing the barest minimum. Of course, even if they were earning the same coming in, they will not be earning the same as the years go by. Okay, so we also have the legal and economic context. We have the minimum wage, of course. So this one is where you know that you cannot pay someone below the minimum wage. We have the tax policy, collective agreements, and so on and so forth. Okay, we've talked about labor unions. I'll just brush over this very quickly. Labor union is an organized group of workers that acts collectively to protect and advance employees' interests through representation, bargaining, and enforcement of agreements. Okay, so a group of workers come together to form their own union to say, okay, so what they do is they protect the rights of the employees. Okay, so it says they provide collective voice and structure for negotiation with employers. Okay, so they negotiate on behalf of their members. They don't do it individually. And again, that's why I say you have to be a member of a labor union. Contract enforcement, advocacy, protects the right of the workers, basically. Labor relation process. It follows a sequence: organizing, collective bargaining, that's negotiating, and administering the agreement. Okay, so it says each stage has a legal, tactical, and relational components that impacts outcome and workplace stability. There's the organizing, there's the part where you negotiate, and there's the part where you would administer the agreement that has been come to. Organizing builds membership and trust. Negotiation bargains terms and trade-off. Administering enforces that the contracts enforces the contract and manages grievances over time. What is collective bargaining? It's a structured negotiation between the employer and the union representative to establish terms of employment rather. So an employer hired you, you signed a contract that says, oh, you'll be paid every month, you'll be paid, but somewhere along the line, the contract wasn't followed. And now the labor union steps in to defend you. Now there could be a collective bargaining. It balances the union's membership priorities with the employer's operational and financial constraints. You know that sometimes when employers don't fulfill their words, it's not because they're necessarily wicked. It's because maybe they've seen that, oh, the company is not doing so well. So they can now start taking it out on the staff members, right? Which is not right. So that's where the labor union steps in to now see how they can bargain. Okay, this is what we are currently going through. That's why we said we have not paid them in this. So this is what we can do. Okay, set objectives, gather data, train. Bargaining sessions, we have proposals, counter proposals, concession, and agreements documented. Of course, we now have the implementation of what has been agreed upon. We already looked at, sorry. Okay. Okay, negotiations typically center around three core issues. It has to do with the wages, the benefits, and the job security. So usually when there is a cause for alarm, it's either maybe the payments or the benefits, HMOs, retirement, leave, or the or the job security. That's the person being unjustly told to resign or you want to fire the person. Those three things are the key things that labor union addresses when it comes to employee matters. All right, so it says summary. Compensation blends direct pay, benefit, and strategy. Okay, and union adds collective power and structure to negotiate wages, benefits. All right, so we have, so what is your labor law? That's another thing I want us to pay attention to. As an HR, what do you do? Audit your pay practices, prepare bargaining data, update employee communications, and train management on compliant labor relations. You see that it is important for every manager and business owner to also be trained with respect to labor relations. It's a non-negotiable. I think I have a copy of the last labor law. If we finish on time, I might just be able to show us what it looks like. All right, so training, that's for Nigeria. I should specify. Training, development, and performance. We've talked about training, right? So when an employee comes into the organization, you also have to train the employee. It's the employer's duty to train the employee with respect to what is going to be very unfair to say, oh, I hired you. I'm not going to train you. You either give me what I need to do or you go. You need to train the employee. The employee needs to grow under you. Okay, so it says one of the things that it does is bridging recruitment, learning, and appraisal to build capability, accountability, and growth. The company is growing, the employees also have to grow. You can't say, oh, our company is moving forward. Now the skills we need, if people don't have it, be going, we'll hire new skills. When you now want to move again, you know, that's not how it's done. You learn to train people to grow as the company grows. Okay. All right, recruitment and selection. What do you do? Ensure that the role is clear. We talked about job analysis already, job description, job specification. Let it be clear. Then also use structured interviews. There could be an interview, an interview process. Okay, the first thing I do is I put out the job application. Then I receive CVs. Let's say we have 70 to 100 CVs. Then there's a selection process based on the job description, the job specification. We shortlist. And so out of the 70 people, we're able to pick 15 people. Then the first stage interview, a casual call with them to get more information with respect to the second stage, a more technical interview stage. And that could be all. Okay, so ensure that you have a documented interview process. And then we also have the onboarding. Onboarding is like saying, welcome. This is who we are. This is how we do things here. You need to ensure that you do it well, because what you say at that particular moment, how you present the organization, how you present your work culture is what helps your employee to become more settled in their workplace. So back to training. All right, so training is a short-term role-focused activity. So for example, I'm going to just give us a clear example. You decide, oh, all our employees are going to take courses on Coursera. We'll buy a course for them, $25 each, pertaining to what they do. So you go to marketing, pick a course, buy. Can we hear me, please? I keep getting that my network is unstable, so I want to.
That's right one.
You said? I'm sorry, I didn't get that. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. I think that
Okay, just wanted to be
probably a
sure.
mistake.
Thank you very much. All right, so as I was saying, training is something that is short. I was giving an example that, okay, if you say you go to Coursera, it could be anything. You go to a training company to say, oh, okay, we want our students to be trained. There's usually a timeline. Maybe you put the training in May, in March. That's a short term. Development is more long term. It has to do with their career. It has to do with where is this person going to? How can we help the person get there within the confines of our own environment? So it means that you look at an intern, you help that intern develop into maybe an associate, to becoming an executive, to becoming a manager. That is development. Is a little bit it's broader than training. Okay, so
Yeah.
you basically use I think everybody should be muted, and if you have any question, you can just send it to chats as we've been doing, so that I'm able to have a seamless session. All right, so what is training used for? To close skill gaps, to enable performance improvement, to support succession and retention. Succession means when somebody leaves a particular role, there's another person to come in. It could also happen because of, so imagine there's a promotion, there would be a vacant role down. If somebody moves up the ladder, then it means that where the person was becomes vacant. And so retention is to help the employees stay, because once you are helping an employee to become better in themselves, they look forward to staying. Now, with respect, with respect to onboarding, we have something that we can call the first 90 days. Okay, where you have the first 30 days where you do welcome, and then you show the person around, introduce the person to your mission, vision, and then the next 30 days you put the person through your roles, responsibility, clarifying the objectives, and of course, within the 60 to 90-day training, you're able to do, and then you set small goals that the person is able to achieve within 90 days. So you can make use of the 90 days during orientation. It says here that peer orientation with simple skill assessments to prioritize early training. Pairing orientation with simple skill assessment to prioritize what? Early training. So you can do a skill assessment during your orientation to also know where to provide training for your staff, your new staff. So there's an on-job training. What is an on-job training? It's training on the job. Very simple. How do we do it? We have job rotation, where you rotate people's roles and skills. Sorry. So you rotate employees across roles to broaden their skills. So usually if you apply for a graduate trainee program or a graduate management program, this usually happens. So they take you from one department to another, to another, to another, so that you are acquiring, you're learning with respect to those departments. We also have apprenticeship. We know what it means to be an apprentice when you are learning work under someone. That one is very common in Nigeria. You sign up as an apprentice to a carpenter. It takes you everywhere he's going to work. Very soon, he'll start telling you to make small stool. Before you know, you make a chair. After a couple of years, you do what they call freedom here in Nigeria. And then you now start your own business. So that's called on-job training. And then we also have mentoring. Mentoring is to help the person, is to help the staff member attain a greater height. Let's just say you give, yes, thank you, Rose. It's known as handwork. So you put a manager with a new employee. The goal is to ensure that the new employee becomes like the manager, not with respect to their personality, of course, that can work, but with respect to what the manager is able to achieve And so the manager is able to mentor the new employee to rightly in the right path of the job training. We have vestibular training. That's where you have that lets learners practice skills safely before applying them. Okay, so this one, you probably take everybody to the lab, you do a couple of experiments before you actually do it on the job. That's what is called vestibular training. This one is usually outside the workplace. You don't do it on the workplace or in the workplace. We also have computer assistant training. We have this one a lot where you have self-post. I mean, we talked about Coursera, Udemy, Allison. You can actually have those trainings where this is also some sort of training. I hope we know. So would this be on-job training or off-job training? Everyone, what's this one called? This one we are doing here today. Ladies and gentlemen, let me have your answers in the comment section. Sorry, in the chat room. Off, okay? The C says off. Any other person? Any other person? Surely they say that is in class. Are we doing an on-job training or an off-job training? I'm waiting for our responses. All right, so we have development. Thank you, Rose, of job training. Thank you, Pretty Beauty. All right, so we have development programs that's moving beyond training now, where we have executive education. Here we have short courses or certifications that build strategic thinking, right? So this one you can decide to take a course or a certification. So we have CIPM, we have ICANN, we have a couple of certifications now, a lot of them. We have NIM for marketing. We have different certifications that we can take. So that's part of moving to development program. You have special assignments. This is where you have stretch projects, cross-functional roles, and interim leadership assignments. So you are given something out of the normal to do. Okay, usually all you just do is I just used to go and deliver. That's what I used to do, but you're now told to oversee an entire process. Then you also have action learning, team-based problem solving applied to real organization challenges. It says link development programs to succession plan and measurable milestone for accountability. So you need to ensure that when you're creating a succession plan, don't forget what a succession plan is. You ensure that development programs have been put in place. Okay. All right. So very quickly, what is performance appraisal? We already talked about it. I'm just going to run through because I said we're looking at all the components of HR, some of them rather, is what to evaluate your staff members based on what they do. Okay. It says the structure to compare expected job outcome with actual performance. Okay, this is what you're supposed to do. This is what you were able to do. That's what it is. Okay. So it means that if you're going to do an appraisal, everyone has to be aware of what they are supposed to do. There has to be clear communication with respect to what goals and objectives they are supposed to accomplish, which you now appraise them on. Okay, so you measure achievement against objectives and competencies, provide feedback for improvement, and create development plans tied to business priorities. So what's the purpose of performance appraisal? It helps you know whose salary you should increase, who you're promoting, it helps you know who you should train. Okay, so it helps you also with your succession planning. Because by the time you do it and you see that, oh, this person meets most of their objectives, when you are thinking of, oh, okay, we need to promote some people as leaders, you already know you choose. What is the best practice when it comes to performance appraisal? Sorry. Maintain audit trails, calibrate ratings, separate development conversation from punitive actions. Okay, again, I've mentioned with respect to the ratings, there are different rating styles, but you try as much as possible to make it fair and make sure that the employee has a say. All right, so performance evaluation framework, expected actions versus actual. Decision needs, sorry, You make a decision, to needs development, you create plan. Let's start from the expected performance. Expected performance are the goals, the competencies, the KPIs that you now communicate to everybody. Again, you have to communicate it to them. You can't approach someone something they are not aware of. Yes, I'm a digital marketer. Yes, I know what digital marketing is globally, but you have to tell the person that this is what it means for you in this organization and over this period of time. After that period of time, I'm going to come and mark your script to ensure that you did what was expected of you. So that is whatever the person does is called actual performance. Okay? So the decision, recognize and maintain. So you look at it. Did the person meet the performance or did the person not meet it? If the person did not meet it, of course, you now create a training needs analysis to say, okay, this is the person is training with respect to this and this, so that the person will be able to meet the objectives next time. Do you understand? Do you understand this framework? Anyways, I trust that you'll be putting your questions in the chat box. All right, so HR planning. Again, we've talked about workforce planning. So I'm just going to go around its key outputs, head count targets. Thank you very much, Pretty Beauty. Skill gap analysis, succession plan. Why do we plan? We plan so that what? So that we are able to make progress. We are also able to put things in place before or ahead of time. Also, so that we're able to meet our goals and objectives. Okay. So it says the inputs, business strategies, attrition rates, budgets. What are the outputs? Open roles, timelines, hiring priorities. Now it says this recap across recruitment and selection. Hiring decisions flow directly from forecast needed. Yes, so sometimes, except you're just starting up your company, even when you're starting up your company, you need to hire when you know that there is a need. That's the only reason you're going to hire. But we need someone that is able to do this. And you look inside, you say, nobody can do it. Or we have people that can do it, but they have a lot of things to do on their hands already. So we need to hire. So it comes from forecasted needs. You also have to look at the budget window. You can't just say, you need to hire an IT guy. Get me an IT guy. The HR will ask you questions. Sir, what is our budget? Because there's IT guy of 3.5 million per month. There's IT guy of 350 per month. Whatever your budget is, sir. Internal mobility plans. So the decision points, internal versus external hire. I hope you know that there is internal hire where you have a particular role and then you look at someone that can do it. And usually this is done in alignment with development plans. So for example, let me explain. There is a current role. Let's say head of technical. The role is open. You can do an internal recruitment, which also aids the development of a staff. It means you would take someone in the technical department. It could be some sort of promotion, right? And then you now go ahead to recruit for the lower role. That's something called internal hiring. So you could also have a case where a staff is not properly the staff's potential is not properly utilized. So the role that is open is adopted to help the staff better utilize their potential. So what I mean by that is you have a staff. For example, I gave an example of a front desk, and then you just realize that this front desk can actually do some accounting work. So when there's a space for accounting, what do? You can bring the person in. That's called internal hiring. Okay, so there's internal hiring. Okay, so we already know what recruitment is. I'm so sorry. Right. It says it's the proactive process of what's attracting qualified. I should say this. When it comes to recruitment, what you are doing is attracting people. And to attract people, the way bees are attracted to honey, the same way as a human being, you know what attracts you. You have to make your recruitment attractive. You can't say recruitment and hiring someone is not you doing the person a favor. you have to position yourself to the point where the person actually chooses to work with you. Because I hope you know that people can decline your offer as a business owner. They can just tell you, I don't want to work with you. And you need that person's skills. So you are attracting qualified candidates to fill your organization's need. Okay? Attract, engage, assess. As I said, okay, what recruitment platforms will you put them on? I'm going to share with us one story. So I worked in a place that was not really great as at then. And I remember that when someone wanted to come in for the interview, she saw the job ad. The first thing she did was message myself and a couple of other people in the organization to ask, I'm preparing to come to this company. What should I know? And trust me, she got a lot of discouraging comments, and then she went to reject their offer. What does that say? It means that whatever we do in our organization stands as an employer branding or an organization branding. And even the staff members as themselves are the ambassadors of the organization. I'm just saying that one. That one is not, it's not in your slide, but you need to ensure that recruitment is something that you can do. I think it was you, Rose, or someone said she will ask people around her when I said, how do you want to do your recruitment? Now imagine you're asking people around you, oh, do you know someone that can work for me? And somebody is familiar with where you want to come and work with, and they think it's not a great place. They will not recommend anybody for you. All right, so internal labor markets, promotion from within. We've talked about that. Why it is great, right? You're already hiring someone that understands how the company works. So you are not having to do a lot of onboarding to say, this is who we are, this is what we do. So it's a lower onboarding time. It is also a way to retain staff and motivate them because you're telling them that, oh, okay, we called it terrorists and apostles in marketing. Thank you very much, Jose. So we're looking at internal labor market, right? It helps you to retain staff because staff has the expectation that, okay, if I do well, I will be promoted to a higher position. So it motivates them to work. And then we have succession strength. It helps our succession plan when we know that what the person we are bringing on board is already someone from within. It also helps us with our search cost because the amount you use to hire a head technical person is not the same amount you use to hire an IT intern. That is the head technical is way more than the IT intern. So if you're able to train your IT intern to become an IT officer, train your IT officer to become an IT manager, train your IT manager to become the head, all you need to hire for now is an IT intern. Do we understand that cycle? All right, so very quickly, external labor markets, that's the one outside. It's essential when needed skills are scarce internally. So you've looked around, you've seen that, oh, there's nobody that can do this particular thing. Then you recruit externally, or you've done all the promotion and moved everybody up. There's a last promotion, last vacancy down that you need to fill. So you do it. You use it when there's no internal candidates with the required skills. You use it when there are rapid growth demand. So again, like the biscuits, not chin again, example that I gave. Now you need to produce times 4 of what you usually produce in a day. You need more hands. Need for fresh ideas. And there are sometimes that you just hire because you just want fresh people. All of you, everybody in the organization just feels like so you can come in and say, okay, let's hire someone that's bringing a new perspective. Considerations, though, there's a longer onboarding than internal recruitment. Higher cost for acquisition. You pay for advertising, you even pay for the onboarding, you pay to get a work tool, it's more money. And then employer brand impact on candidates quality. The brand impact on the candidate's quality would also matter. Okay. Electronic job boards. We've mentioned a couple of them. Online job boards. You said LinkedIn, Jobberman. They are examples. Now, when using them, optimize titles and keywords for search. Include salary range to increase apply rates. Now, I know a lot of people, especially business owners, don't like it because they want to be flexible with the amount. Because you can actually see someone that is good, but the person is not calling a lot of money. But the truth is, you should have a job budget for that role. You should have a budget for that role, and you should include it. It would help you save time. Once you put it there, that you are willing to pay, let's say, 1,000 CDs, and I'm using Ghana currency now. The person that doesn't want 1,000 CDs will not apply. The person that, so I know the only reason why people don't like to put it is in case they can get someone that wants 700 CDs that can still do the same job. But the truth is, it's better for you to put it. If the person was willing to collect 700 CDs and sees 1,000, yes, it's good for the person. But it's better that you have someone that you're paying well and the person can do the job than someone that you're not paying well and the person is doing the job. Monitor board performance and cost per hire. So there are different metrics in recruitment that we need to know. One of which is cost per hire. We also have time to fill and the rest of that. All right, so recruitment branding, why image matters. So I didn't even know that. Sorry, I had not got into this part. I'd already talked about it. It is very important that employees will look at where they are coming to. And it's something every one of us on this call will do as well. If you're going to a new country, you're not just going to go because it's not Nigeria. If I say, okay, oh, I have free visas for everyone, everybody will clap. And as mentioned, Iran, Gaza. Some people say, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. Why? Because they already understand that where I'm going to might just be the same or be worse than where I currently am. So there's no point. So there's something called an employer branding. There's something called an organization branding, where you put yourself as so there's something called a great place to work. There's something called a great place to work. So there are organizations that are certified as a great place to work. So why is that certification important? Because it's part of their employer branding to say, you're going to enjoy your time with us. You're going to enjoy working here. We can guarantee you growth. We can guarantee you fair compensation and the rest of that. You attract top management when you top talents when you do this. Also, candidate experience. So if you go to Glassdoor now, if you type a company, you will see pros and cons. It's the employees that put it there. Oh, they don't pay on time. Oh, they are this one. Oh, their managers are very strict. You will see it there. Measurable ROI, tracking brand metrics, apply rate, offer acceptance. That's another thing that is key in HR. We track these things, looking at the number of offers that we gave from January to December 2025. How many people accepted our offer? How many people rejected our offer? How many people applied for our jobs? How many people were reluctant to apply? Is very important that we take note of that as business owners and of course as HR experts. All right, so what is employee selection? It's the methodical process of evaluating applicants to identify the best fit for a role, for the role requirement and organization structure. So it balances predictive assessment, tests, structured interviews with legal fairness. What does it do? Is to predict job performance and retention while minimizing bias. Okay, so what are the principles for selecting? Reliability, validity, legality, and transparency. I have said it, we have to ensure that our selection process is void of bias. You have to ensure that there's a transparent, that's why when people are sending rejection emails, they will say what, you're a great fit, but you're not what we're looking for. Some people even go as far to say, this is what they were looking for, and this is why you were not able to be selected. We need to ensure that there's transparency when selecting. Okay, I've talked about this, the interview process. Look at now, we have what? We have selection, we have screening. That's where you get all the CVs and start shortlisting. We have testing, we have interview, you have a background check, and then you have physical interview. So it says the selection flows from broad filtering to high fidelity checks. Start with resume, apply standard tests for ability and fit. So you have some people that do medical tests. Structured interview, conduct structured interviews, verify background and references, complete any required physical or medical clearances. Okay, so what are the control points? Decision gates at screening, post-test, post-interview, determine progression. Ensure that background checks and exam follow legal and privacy regulations. Again, for these ones, we must have documentation that speaks to it. What are the type of tests that you can use in an interview? An aptitude test, a personality test, and a skill test. So you can use an aptitude test to measure their numerical thinking, qualitative, quantitative. You can use a personality test to know what kind of person they are, their strengths and weaknesses. And you can use a skill test that has to do with, this one is more job specific. The skill test for digital marketing is not the same or the one of an IT person, but you can give the both of them the same personality test, okay? And the same aptitude test. All right, so in summary, we have aligning hiring to HR planning, choosing internal mobility where possible, recruit externally for skill gaps or where you have rapid growth, build a strong employer brand, use targeted channels, and follow a structured selection process. Quick checklist. Link hires to workforce plan. Don't just hire people. Have a plan before hiring. Define critical predictors. Use validated tests and structured interviews. Protect candidates' experience and legal compliance, even if you're not going to hire them. Ensure that they have a great experience while applying. Next step for hiring managers. Approve job brief and success profile, confirm sourcing channels, and align interview panel and scorecards. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I know that you wanted this to continue, but we have to come to the end. All right, so thank you very much. Do we have questions? Yes, Dusi.
Okay, so thank you for the great presentation or the lecture. There's something um, that is happening in Ghana that has to do with hiring and firing, especially at the educational sector. We've had a couple of issues where um, you just read a VC or a senior person in a university has been asked to go on leave or has been sacked, and sometimes you see it even results in legal issues and all that. So I actually do not know what is causing this because I've not come across any literature that explain the whole situation. But then from the HR point of view, what do you think actually cause some of these things? Because sometimes it's very embarrassing from the employer aspect and of also the person who picks the job. Good. I hope my question is clear.
I'm going to have to recap. So are you saying that they just tell people to go?
Yeah, sometimes it becomes a management struggle, because probably you have appointed a person for a number of years to serve for 4 years.
Okay.
Sometimes the contract is extended, but then in the process of that, you just see that management or the authority will just issued a letter because we have one currently now, which I'm not going to mention the name. The VC has been asked to step aside. He was even prevented from attending a management meeting, and he has to force himself and all that. I mean, sometimes it gets so nasty.
Okay.
So I don't actually know what actually causes that from HR point of view. Yeah.
Okay, so again, because I don't know why they are letting them go, but what I can say is there has to be a way by which this is done in accordance to policies and procedures. You can't just tell someone to go while the person's contract is still very much valid. Now, without giving them a very good example or a very good reason. And even with the reason, there's something, if you notice during our slide, it says that you ensure that you have structured layoffs within that is compliant to legal, to what we have legally. So it means that you cannot just tell someone to leave. If you need to tell the person to leave, maybe you can't pay the person anymore, or there's something that has come up and that needs to be very much what's that thing called? Communicated to that person. And still, Usually if you have in offer letters, there's something called notice period. A notice period has to be given because there's something called you can't actually force a willing worker on an unwilling employer. What that means is if the employer no longer wants to work with you, same as the employee, you can't force them to stay. You can't force any of the parties to continue the agreement if one of them has decided, I don't want to continue it. But you must ensure that in alignment with the labor law, you are giving the person the reason, transparent, and you're not lying of why you're letting the person go. And you also have to give a notice period, not just tell the person, oh, you are going to go. So what they are doing is actually subject to what's that thing called now? To the labor law. And it's something that can actually be reported. It's something that can actually be reported. So it's subject to the labor law. So whatever the reason is that they are letting those people go, they need to ensure that effective communication is done as to why. And they need to ensure if it's payments in lieu that they need to do, the notice period needs to be observed to give those people the chance to actually get another job. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I wouldn't know why they are doing that, but it's totally wrong, especially if they are not sure and if the thing comes very abruptly, like you said, very impromptu. You're just hearing that you've been asked to step down while your contract is still in place, then something is wrong. It's definitely not right. Does any other person have a question?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much for. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Thank you very much for that wonderful teaching. I've been reserving my questions not to interrupt the class.
Okay.
So I have three questions though, but I don't know how to ask them. If I should ask them one after the other, or ask them just in a row.
Uh, you can take the one after the other.
Okay, one of them is this. I've worked in an organization whereby staff wants to grow. And during the course of your teaching, you talked about where management has to put a system in place for staff to grow. Maybe they promote some persons and have to even look for another fit for the junior role or how to train for some certain roles, then those persons that are being trained can fit into the role. So I worked in an organization whereby if, let's say, let me use the procurement unit as an example, procurement department as an example. They have a supply chain manager, they have procurement lead, and they have procurement officers. Now, the supply chain manager resigns from the organization. We expected that from the procurement team, either the procurement lead or somebody who is fit, or the procurement lead can be promoted to be the supply chain manager. But fortunately, they went to employ a supply chain manager. And immediately they did that employment, less than 1 month, the procurement lead resigned. That's one department. It happens in other departments like that in the same organization. My question now is, how do we be able to portray this to the HR to say we need to grow, like in a polite manner, so that it will not look as if we're bringing out a lacuna in the organization. So we need to grow. The things like this should be put in place. So how do we as employees put these things in place before our HR so that it won't look as if it's in a disorganized manner? Thank you.
I
Can
don't
you
know
hear
if it's my
me?
fault. So, yes, but I mean,
Okay.
there was a lot of breaks. I don't know if it's just me, but let me be sure that I got your question. So you're saying that when a lead of procurement resigned, instead of them to move people up the ladder, they brought
Yeah,
somebody new. Is that correct?
yeah, yes.
So
And
they're
that will
looking
now prompt
for,
others to resign.
sir?
That will now prompt others to resign.
Others to
That's mean,
resign. Okay, okay, okay.
yeah.
Yes, okay. So I understand you. So you're asking how you can inform your HR about this. Is
Yes,
that
yes,
okay?
yes,
The first thing to do would be to request for, if it's not already in place, a feedback session. So organizations are supposed to have what is called a feedback session, where you get if it's a survey, if it's an employee satisfaction form, something that the employees are able to communicate to the management that these are our concerns. Now, so if that is not in place, then I think that what can be done is have a one-on-one meeting with the HR to say, okay, with respect to this, we have noticed that this and this happens. When someone leaves, none of us are trained to the none of us are entrusted with the responsibility of taking up this new role. And maybe because effective training is not done, or maybe you don't say that, Sha, but you just say that none of us are interested to taking up this new role. And it is sort of, what's that thing called? Demoralizing, or it's bringing out your morale. Let me put it in that way that we can understand. It's bringing out the staff's morale, and you think that is going to increase attrition, reduce retention. Now, what you can do is either send an email requesting a one-on-one session and have the conversation with the HR as courteously as what I would say, as politely as possible. But it's also to know that that is what you need to do. Then after the meeting, also send an email again, documentation to say, okay, well, this was what the meeting was about. Just a recap, just a gentle reminder. You would appreciate that that is being done. Now that's number one. Number two is to ensure that you also have your own personal growth. I always advise people, the company is supposed to train you and develop you. Ensure that you're training and developing yourself so that you can also demand it. If it's a case of, oh, okay, they are not willing to give it, you can actually demand it. You can look at it and say, okay, I've worked here in a couple of years. I know the processes. There's a space. I would like to take up this space. These are my certifications, my qualifications, and my past experience in the organization. Now, those are the two things I know or I think you can do. It's not to guarantee that it will work, because the organization still has the final say. But when you do that, you are giving yourself the chance. You're not keeping quiet, and you are also ensuring that you are actually um you are being a great fit for the role. So those are the two things I think you can do. Once you are able to have a one-on-one with the HR to say, okay, I'm just discussing this based on organization. One of the things I've noticed, if your HR is competent enough, she or he listens to you and takes that feedback to the management. Now, number two, because if they take it to the management and even the management is saying that it's because none of them can do the job, it shows that they are not training anyone in the organization well enough to take up higher responsibilities. But number two that you can also do is what? Get to the point where you can demand for it. And once you see that there's a vacancy, you are like, I would like to step in for this role. I noticed this person left. I would like to step in, and I know that I'm perfectly qualified for it. Those are the two things I can recommend for you as an employee.
Okay, thank you very much. Then my second question is, let's assuming as an employee, maybe you were employed, let's say as an inventory officer, and you begin to develop yourself, because in your first answer you talked about personal development by staff. Begin to develop yourself, getting certifications from your teaching. So we should go for certifications. Then from institute, though, in pertaining your inventory role, and at the end of the day, maybe your HR is not aware. What are the steps you feel at that point, when the employee has been able to do everything, all the certifications, and he knows he's fit for a particular, what are the measures you feel can be put in place for management to oblige, or towards the HR to inform them as well?
Again, it was breaking, but you're talking about professional certification that you took by yourself.
Yes, after personal development, and you need to inform your organization about it, since you didn't inform them at the initial beginning, but you
You
need to
just,
inform them about it.
okay, so also, why are you informing them? Is there something you're looking to achieve by informing them?
Yes, maybe they have to factor in your certifications for possible promotions if need be.
Oh, okay. All right. So the thing to do is, I would wonder why I think it's better to inform them before you even start, to say, okay, I'm starting my certification in this and this. I would like to get certified with respect to this year. You're not telling them so that they will drop the money for you if they are not able to, but you are telling them so that they are very much aware. Because I want to believe that maybe when you're even doing your exams, you probably need to apply for a leave. and all of that, so that they are very much aware. And then, of course, once you're done and you've gotten certified, you can share the certificates. You should share the certificates with the HR. That shows that you are now, you don't have to use, there's something they will say in Yoruba in Nigeria. They'll say, don't use all your mouth to talk, right? So you can just share the certificates with them to say, okay, this is my new skill qualification and everything. Also share it on your social media, maybe LinkedIn, for example. That already tells them that, oh, okay, you've taken one step ahead to become better for yourself. Okay, so now if you now get to the point where you are looking for something, maybe a promotion, or you're looking for a better pay, and you have figured out that they are not reading the room, you can now say it that, oh, okay, but that's after a while. You don't get the certificate and now say, now that I'm now a chartered accountant, increase my salary. No. So you should share it for the update. And when you're sending it, what you're telling them is for the update of their documents, because they have their documents with, yeah, they have your documents with them. So you want their records of you to be updated. So you send it to them. And then if after a while, I would advise that you give it a while.
Oh,
If you have any demands, you can now go ahead.
yes, thank
Okay,
you very much. My last question is, can you hear
go
me?
ahead. Yes, please go ahead.
My last question is about staffing because I've
I can't hear you. I don't know if I'm the only one. Please, is it clear on any other person's end? Do I need to change?
worked as
The network is
and
breaking.
I discovered that. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, what I'm saying is that I have opportunity to be able to work a little bit under the HR, and I discovered that when you let's say suffer yourself in terms of recruiting staff, give them all the benefits they want. Before you know, in the less than 6 months, 7 months, 1 year, they resign, and you begin to look for another replacement again. It's very tiring. So how do HROs, as in like upcoming HROs who wants to, upcoming persons who want to venture into HR, how do we stop these resignations of staff moving from one company to another, so that at least when you put a staff, it can be able to stay for a very long time to give the HRO some certain peace. Thank you.
Okay, so you are saying that after you give people benefits, in about 6 months, they leave.
Yes, and you begin to recruit another again, and it's very tiring sometimes.
It is actually, but the truth is, as HR, you cannot totally, totally stop attrition. You can only do your best to maintain retention, build trust, but you can't totally stop it. So now, imagine what you've said. You're giving out the benefits. It's not like you're withholding it, but people are still living. So at that point, a typical Nigerian will say, what do you want me to do after now? So, right. So the first thing is to understand that you can't stop attrition. That's why we have something called succession planning. Always knowing that, oh, okay. And there's something that I have learned or I'm learning in HR is that you have to know who are your top flyers. So there are key staff members in the organization that you know that they are your top flyers. Now, those ones you can do more or less anything to keep them. Of course, nothing illegal, but you engage them, you take them and you say, okay, well, this is, if it even gets to a point where if some of them are even looking for opportunities elsewhere, you're able to sit down with them to say, okay, what are you looking for exactly? How can we help you out with that? But regardless, you really can't stop people from leaving the organization. So that's why there has to be a succession plan to say, if this person leaves tomorrow, what can we do? Even the top flyer that I'm mentioning, because we need to, I said separation is resignation, is retirement. It's also the fact that natural things can happen. The person might not be leaving because of bigger money. The person might want to japa, and you can't create another Nigeria for the person to live in, right? The person can have family problems and is not able to work again for that period. The person can even, God forbid, die. So you need to have succession plan to say, okay, so maybe it's not every time. And then one part of the slide mentioned, going back to your talent pool, there's need to have a talent pool to say, okay, I've interviewed about 7 people. I chose one person, but I had a second option that I can always go back to. I just put it there. That's why you see that in our rejection emails, they always say we'll keep your CV for when other opportunities that are more fitting comes to you. It's not just cliche, it's actually true, right? So you need to have a talent pool that you can also fall back on. All you can do in that point is ensure that you build structures that when you're falling or when you have to go back, you're not going back to the ground. You're not typing a new JD. You already have systems that you can fall back on. But to say, I would have said, oh, work on the benefits. But if you're already giving benefits and they're still living, you just have to ensure that you have a great and strong succession plan in place then.
Thank you very much. That's all from me.
I'm sorry, what do you say?
I said that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So that's the thing about working with humans, right? Like I said it one time. I said humans are not machine. It's not, it's machine that even machines can decide to pack up and maybe to be fine. But human beings are not like that. Human beings are different. And they are not you can only you can have systems in place to mitigate the kind of things that can come up with human beings, but you cannot fully decide what happens with humans because it could be internal factors, it could also be external factors. So we can only do our best to ensure that we put systems in place that doesn't make us start from scratch. You just know that we have things that we are going to fall back on if anything happens. That's why there's something called risk mitigation. Okay, so Rose says, how does an employer do a background check on his employees without them knowing? And doing a background check on your employer should be something secretive or openly. Okay. All right. So doing background checks is something that is embedded in your interview, and the employee should know that you're conducting a background check. Now, when you're doing a background check, a part of it is also accepting or reaching out to their former referrals, former employers, of which sometimes you don't have the access to their contacts except the person gives it to you. Okay, so and so you have to be able to, so when you're doing a background check, you can, should it be secretive? Should we be open? I don't think there's any need to make it secret, right? I know that you are trying for the employee not to go and start hiding all his criminal records. But what you're trying to do is ensuring that, because if they would tailor the documents, they're going to tailor the documents. But what you need to do is ensure that you reach out to the right. So for example, if you're reaching out to his referrals from the previous employers, one of the things that people do nowadays is before they'll tell you to bring a reference letter. Now, you just give them the HR email, your former HR's email. They are the ones that will send the documents, whatever they need to the HR. It's not your business. They will not put you in copy. That's what people do now. They will just tell the HR that these are the information that they need with respect to you, and the HR will also send it back to them. That's what people do now, right? And so there's no need to put it as secretive. It could maybe only be secretive if you have a very big suspicion on the person you're about to hire. But if you also have that, I do not advise that you continue hiring the person. If you are looking at the person like this, then don't bother, because you don't even trust the person in the first place. So one of the things you can do is you have to make it, you have to make sure that it is known, lest people sue you and tell you that you are looking into their private lives without their permission. You have to make sure that they are aware that there's a background check that is going to be conducted. Now, all you need to do is they don't have to know the how, they just have to know that there is a background check that's going to be conducted. You can reach out to the former employer one-on-one, have a conversation with the former employer with respect to this employee. And then it happens to me a lot of times as HR. Get some people that their HRs will reach out, their new HRs will reach out to me and send me some forms asking very detailed questions with respect to their conduct at work, what they were able to do, their biggest achievements. And me, I will not put my entire certification and career on the line by lying for you if you did not do it, right? But of course, if you did it, that's also great. So Is it right for an employee to do a background check on your system? Oh, for an employer to do a background check on your system, note that the system is personal, not for the organization. By system, do you mean like a computer? Is doing a background check on your computer? What kind of background check is that? So Pretty Beauty, do you want to maybe explain? You are talking about the computer. Oh, computer system. How did the employer have access to your computer system? Because in the real sense of it, employers don't have access to personal computers. What they do is give you a work tool. Employers don't have access to personal computers. So is it right for an employer to do a background check on your own system? No, it's not. There's no background check the person is checking. And an employer doesn't have access. It doesn't. They ask for any desk address. Okay. No, they don't have that right to go to your personal PC to look up anything. That's why it's called your personal PC. So the reason why we give work tools at the workplace is so that you use it for company work and you don't mix your personal with. So they don't have rights to, even if it's to do any desk access is from their own, they don't have that rights. Their background checks are supposed to be externally done, not coming to your. Anybody that can go to your PC to check up something can as well come to your house and come and visit your family members. So please, no, it's not right for an employer to do a background check on your own personal PC. No, it's not. No, I don't agree to it. Whatever background check you're doing, you can get criminal records, you can get statements of account from hospitals, from anything, but not you not let the person open your personal computer. Nah, I don't know. It's all right. Okay. Any other question? What is key is to watch your digital footprint. That's what they want to do. Okay. So, I mean, there's the one where they go to your social media. I understand that one. But that's not the same as asking someone to bring their personal PC or asking for their any disk address and trying to get access into their computer. You can go to the person's social media and check what they've been doing on social media. You can tell them, list out your social media accounts. You can even decide to do CIA and find it out by yourself, but you don't go into somebody's PC to look for what they did not put in your hand. Okay. All right. So I think that brings us to the end of this session. It's exactly 1:30. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a very great privilege for me to take this class, and I want to say thank you to everyone for contributing and ensuring that we had a great time today. Over to you, Damola.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ore. Please kindly let us appreciate Ore in the chat box, or if you're ready, you can also unmute your mic to speak. Let us appreciate her for today's session. It has been a very insightful session to me. Please, the slide will
Thank
be
you,
sent.
ma'am.
The slide will be sent to the WhatsApp group. If you're not on the WhatsApp group yet, we're sending a link to the WhatsApp group so you can join. I'm sure most of us here would. You will also get the recorded version of this class. So you get the material and the recorded version so you can go through it on your terms and really understand if you're missing anything out. All right. So thank you, Ori. I really appreciate this session. To be honest, I learned a lot and I'm really happy I'm here. So I would like to make some announcements, but give me a minute while I share my screen. All right. Is my screen audible now?
I can see your
Sorry, can you see
screen.
my screen? Yes,
Yes.
thank you. All
Yes.
right. So basically, I would like us to all make sure that we've filled the form. First of all, that is very important. And after filling the form, I'll be sending the link to the WhatsApp group so that we can get updates of when next the class is, the materials for the class, and whatnot. So we would all be informed properly. All right. So if you've filled the attendance form, just in the chat box, just type yes, 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 yes. I want to see that everybody is actually filling the attendance links.
Yes.
All right, just one.
I haven't filled the attendance form, please, and I've been requesting for it since. Please, can you help
I've
me
resent
resend
it
it?
to the chat box. Yes, I have resent it to the chat box. All right. So I'm also going to be sending the link to register to get on the group. Just give me a minute. Okay. Hello, am I still audible? Hello.
Yes, you are.
Yes,
All
you
right.
are.
So, one more thing, I would like us to all fill I'll be sending a feedback form. So if you have any feedbacks, if you have a particular thing on your mind that you really want to let us know here at Transformation College and how we can make it even better, I'll be sending the feedback form so you can just fill it and let us know your opinion, if you enjoyed the class, how the class was today. So, because this is part of how, we can serve you better and give you even better courses. So let us know how your experience was with today's class, and the next, I would like to inform you all that we also have some other courses in Transformation College. If you don't know yet, we have the AI Business Analyst, and we also have the AI Automation Specialist. That these classes happen every Friday of the week. So if you want to register for those courses, I'll be sending a link to our website so you can see all the courses we offer and you can proceed with whichever one you decide to. And I'm sure that we all know that the best placement we have right now is to place ourselves as the ones who create the AI for companies or for individuals or for usage or for solutions, rather than looking at AI as an emailing tool or a, a story generating tool. So you can use AI properly to place yourself as, the leading brands in the world. So I would like us to know also that we are also open to receive sponsorship from all well-meaning individuals and organization, and we sponsor the tuition. You can even sponsor probably two, four, five, as much as you can if you know any family member that is magnanimous or generous, that likes to support, free education and getting people informed. So we accept the link. You can also go through our admin. You can send our admin a message on any inquiry you might have. And we also have the account number here. And please don't forget to always join us on our YouTube, on our LinkedIn, message us, let us know how you feel, post your picture up, have a screenshot while you are in class, please let us know how you perceive Transformation College via the social media platforms. We are on LinkedIn, we're on TikTok, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and X. So we are on all platforms. You can also see us on YouTube. So basically, all the recorded versions of these sessions are always on YouTube. So you'll be getting them once you're in the WhatsApp group. And I really, really appreciate you all for coming for today's session. It's been an amazing one today. And before I go, I would like to hear one or two people, give us a little bit of appreciation today. Anyone ready to speak? Hello, am I still audible? Hello, hello. Can anyone hear me? All right, John, you can. All right, yes, all right. So I'll just need one or two people to, tell us what your experience has been in today's session. If you have any pointers that really got your attention and you really figured out or what you've learned today, you can also type it in the chat box or you can unmute your mic to speak. Let us know how you feel about today's session before we call it a day. Okay, nobody's saying anything.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, this is Body on the line. Thank you so much for this opportunity. The class has been awesome, and I quite appreciate the facilitator, the coach, who has been taking the class. The only area where I have concern is that virtually all the courses that were listed are of interest. And as I speak with you, I'm actually juggling between two classes. Because as we speak, the information
Information
class
systems.
is ongoing. Yeah. So, and how I wish we could have them separate that there won't be clashes. So we'll be able to have maximum attention in one at a time. So, but aside from that, the class is awesome. I'm a certified business analyst and I know the value of what I'm getting here right now. I have my IBA CBAP certification, and
Wow.
I can say you have quite a material. So I can say on behalf of everybody that attended the class is awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Olabode. That is very, very amazing. All right. So, okay, Rose Abel, our class today was amazing and great. All right. Pretty Beauty, I appreciate our speaker for today. She did great. That's amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. So we're going to be calling it a day. So the material for this class will be sent to the WhatsApp group. So just signify on the WhatsApp group, you'll be getting it um, immediately after the class is over, while the recorded version should be sent on Monday. And you would also be getting your assignments. So there will be a weekly assignment for every class. So you have till the next class to submit your assignment. So once your assignment has been dropped on Monday, you have till Friday to submit your assignment. So, your grading and your continuity level really matters. And please do well to do your assignments. It's going to really help. It's going to really help in taking you to the next phase of our course. All right. I really appreciate everyone here. And once again, have a wonderful day ahead and goodbye.